Well, ladies and gentlemen, apologies, we're still on the start screen at the moment. I've not unmuted Tanner, so Tanner, don't worry, they can't hear you at this moment in time. We will be live very shortly. We're experiencing a problem. One, the server took forever to go live. We've had to mess around with that. I'm currently struggling with the overlays on the broadcast. So do just please bear with us for a moment while we try and resolve these issues. Otherwise, there might not be any overlay site, which is then going to be a little bit annoying, considering that I might have to then keep going back to the garage to change car. So just please bear with.
Exit of Sunset for no reason.
Okay, going live now. So a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to SimPlay Motorsport. Hope you're doing very, very well this fine afternoon. It is Sebring time. We're about to head onto the race circuit for qualifying. There is 5 minutes left in the session. It's been a mad rush tonight. Once again, apologies for the delay in the starting of the stream. Server not loading through requesting it. We've had to get our dear friend Gareth Anderson, who I believe is out on the circuit. No, he's not, to get the server done. And then we've... and then the overlay wasn't working. And now, to make matters a little bit worse, I forgot to do the camera. So I'm going to quickly sort the camera out before we can get them to the tables and what have you. There we are. Camera's working now. So good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to Le Mans Ultimate. Welcome back to SimPlay Motorsport in what is a busy week for SimPlay this week. We're at week 5 here. 3 weeks to go. Sebring, Fuji, Portimao will end the season of Le Mans Ultimate in 3 weeks' time. We've still got ACC. We enter the halfway stage of ACC at Monza on Wednesday and Thursday night for the reverse grid and 60-minute race. And on Saturday is the finale of the Endurance Championship. 6 hours of Donington Park, I believe brought to you by Alexa Marshall herself. We'll be bringing you the action there. Some of the cars aren't loading in properly for me, so hopefully that one will sort itself out as the night goes on into the next session. Good evening to Fury's granddad, Styles in the chat, Gary Clarble, Phil Hornsby, Caitlin, OSW in the chat, as well as Rob Smith and Gareth Stanton. Good evening to you all. That'll be why I've sorted the out of sync issue, so apologies for that. That's because of the console stuff. I forgot to turn the sync off. It has been a crazy start to this night. It really has been. So, welcome back. Apologies for being out of sync. We are back now, and hopefully everything matches up there. Tanner, good evening. Hope you're well.
Yeah, and I hope you don't... Hopefully all the issues we're going to have are just on the beginning of this race. Or here in the practice session. And tonight's going to be a fun night just because tire wear will be high, just with, the track being in the mid-range of the grip level. So it's going to take a little bit for it to rubber in and be optimum for the tires. It's night. These drivers are going to be sliding because how bumpy it is. Did a little testing last night. It's about 2% wear per lap for these GT3 drivers. For the LMP2s, it's a little bit higher. I think it's about 2.5 to 3% per lap, and that's without locking up or needing to do any maneuvers. So I'm expecting everybody to take at least 2 tires. Majority might take 4. So strategy-wise, we're in for a treat tonight.
We are in for a treat. And Tanner, Sebring, one of your home circuits, I suppose, being in Florida. Going to be a cracking race. The early morning start to this race, which is funny because we're going to have sunrise over sunset. It's going to be a brilliant race. This track is fantastic. The first time SimPlay Motorsport have ever been here. And it's going to be an interesting race to watch, isn't it? 100 minutes around this bumpy old airfield is not one for the faint-hearted.
No, you see him every day, dog. Sorry, my dog's deciding to bark at my brother. He sees every morning. No, yeah, and if you ever raced here or you've ever heard of Sebring, you gotta know the bumps around here, especially around the fast corners, because if you try to take the optimum line on a smooth track, and you expect it to be a smooth, there's going to be a big bump that either throws your ABS off, or makes you slide a little bit more, or bumps you, puts you into oversteer, just because you hit the wrong bump. So especially around the most famous corner around here, which is Sunset, you don't in both cars or both the GT3s and LMP2 cars take different lines around there to avoid certain bumps, and that's what makes this track so interesting. Is you have you have to have the setup right, and you have to make sure it can go around here without, or be able to have enough ride to take all the bumps and curbs. The suspension be soft enough to not throw yourself off if you're gonna take some of these bumps.
On one of the injuries, sorry, go on.
Oh yeah, no, you're fine.
I was going to say, one of the more interesting things as well, with that early morning, the sun rising, just going to throw the driver's braking points off just a little bit more as well, isn't it, going into this race? Because obviously, just possibly going from that little bit of darkness as it's going to brighten up. So drivers might find that the braking points will change throughout the race. But yeah, we'll get to the overlays in just a moment, Styles. Sorry, I'm just still sorting a few bits on PC settings to make sure everything is up and running on the stream correctly, so just bear with us 2 moments. But it is going to be an interesting one tonight, like you say, because this track, so long, so much can happen. It's also got different parts of the circuit. It's almost like 3 different racetracks built into one. You've got technical parts, quicker sections, and then your sort of medium fast speed sections of the circuit. So this track is really going to play out and show who can do what at different stages of this race.
Yeah, I'm expecting as I'm looking at the GT3 standings, we see 3 of the Lexuses in the top 4. The Lexus I'm expecting to completely dominate through the sector 2 and 3, but the Porsche is going to be a bit of an all-rounder here. It's not the best at any spot, but it's always going to be the 2nd or 3rd best car. Mercedes is going to be good all around. The Aston Martin is going to be good in this on all the straights, just because how much straight line speed it's going to have.
Yeah.
Lambo is going to be absolutely rapid in qualifying, as it normally is. The McLaren's, I think the McLaren is probably going to be the worst car around here, just because how low you have to run it, and how basically aero sensitive it is. So and then you have the Corvette of Townsend that's just it was just a little bit on the edge. So his car qualifying, he might have it turned all the way up, and then he might turn it down to a 9 or an 8 for the main race, just to have it tameable. Is the stream okay? The stream is still going. Good.
I hope the stream's still going. Right. Erkin Cogley was the first man out on the circuits. Let's get on board with him in this qualifying session. We'll go on board his lovely lit up blue looking Lexus from the inside as we come through towards Sunset. The bonus with Sebring, oh, he's dropped the rear coming through there. The bonus with Sebring, the only circuit at the moment, Tanner, that has you come out the pits before the final corner, meaning you start your first flying lap straight away. Now, yes, we know that first flying lap probably isn't going to be a representative lap time of what you can do, but it means you can get that banker lap in.
Yeah, it's also going to play a huge part in the race as well, because you're going to have those ice cold tires right away at the hardest corner on the track. In my opinion, it's going to be that Sunset corner, just because the wall mid-corner and on exit comes up so fast, and on cold tires you have to take it so carefully, and you have to be so patient, just because if you hit the wrong bump at the wrong time on warm tires, it's going to bounce you into the wall. But with cold tires, it's even more on a nice edge, and it's even more risk if you're trying to go fast around there. So expect these guys, when they do change tires and have a full tank and gas, to be extra careful on their outlap.
Tony saying 68 for 8. That's a reference to me, because he'll be watching the cricket, I imagine, on his telly. So thank you, Tony. That means England and Wales are probably going to win in that cricket match over India. If they lose a cricket match, it's only England. Funny that, isn't it, how it works? But yeah, so that looks good. Caitlin saying, I have a good feeling this is going to be a great race. You're not the only one. And OSW in the chat saying, oh, Strange Love is also racing. Good luck to Pete as well. While we're at an American circuit, Tanner, good evening to Jose in the chat. I think it's only appropriate to mention the USA pack coming, the USA season pass coming to LMU. We believe over the next couple of weeks we'll be receiving our first of 3 or 4 DLCs, which we got told on Saturday, on Independence Day, that will contain Daytona Road Course and Laguna Seca. Not an official IMSA license for Le Mans Ultimate here to have, but the USA pack bringing you, off the bat, Daytona and Laguna, 2 fantastic iconic circuits to possibly see on the calendar for next season.
Well, yeah, and it's especially nice to see the home of SimPlay come back as well in Daytona. Finally move right back into Florida again and go back on Daytona. Is definitely more famous it's more famous of a track than it is difficult. It just like how Le Mans is. It's more about the history around the track than how difficult and how testing it is. Just because it's one of the most famous 24-hour races around, and completing the 24 hours is a challenge in itself. As first times for the GT3s, it looks like the Lexus, or the 415 Lexus, with a 206.5. I'm expecting pole to be a 201 for the GT3s.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting time, isn't it, for the GT3s to see what they can do. I'm going to stick on board with Erkin Koglu as he's coming through out the hairpin now, down towards the middle sector of the lap. So he's coming through the Fangio chicane at the moment as he makes his way down towards Cunningham Corner. Brakes hard. Tricky little right-hander that immediately comes up into a left. So you want to get on the power, but you've just got to have a slight lift through the left-hander here of Collier Curve. Now you can be flat out down towards another sharp 90-degree right-hander of Tower Turn. You've got a good exit from here, sets you up really for a good run through these next section of the circuit, doesn't it? Through Tower Turn, down the Flying Fortress straight you go. Into Bishop's Bend now comes that of Erkin Koglu. Great to see Erkin Koglu, by the way, back out there as he comes through a couple of the corners. Now you're coming in towards the next of the bends, now into Le Mans Curve before heading down the Ullman Straight. Before you head towards Sunset. And a lovely last sector of this lap. I really do enjoy out of Tower Turn all the way down towards Sunset. It's a beautiful section of the track. Very rewarding when you get it right. Erkin Koglu now in towards Sunset. Watch for that bump. Comes up pretty early. The LMP2s are going to struggle there, I'd say, more than the GT3s, just with how low down to the floor they are.
Yeah, you're going to see the LMP2 cars take a wider entry into it with a narrower exit, and the GT3s are going to be taking a narrow entry and then trying to roll it out. So you're going to see both classes of the cars, if they have to pass over there, you're going to see the LMP2 cars try to take the outside and then cut across the nose if they get by fast enough. So I hate to say it, but I'm expecting if some incidents to happen around Sunset in the race, if they do have to pass through Sunset.
Well, your man on pole in LMP2 at the moment is Phipps, from Callum Clark by half a second. Jamal Cloudon's third, 6 tenths further back. Then it's Dan Davis, Kieran O'Reilly, James Wright, Jochen Cambrai rounds out the top 7 in LMP2. Fury's down in 26th overall, as he's just actually climbed up the order into P6 overall now in 16th class. Van der Meulen, Silfens, Latnik all have a qualifying ban. So they'll be starting from the pit lane. Who else is left out there on a lap? Jamal Cloudon's coming up towards Sunset now. Dan Davis just coming through the Le Mans curve. What about James Wright? He's coming through Sunset a little bit further forward than Jamal Cloudon. So let's go back to James Wright just briefly. He's not in a Porsche. He's in an LMP2. Not sure why it's loaded in like that. Jamal Cloudon's LMP2 goes through. He moves up to pole position at the moment. Here comes Dan Davis, 2.7 off the pole. Jamal Cloudon then will want to try his best here to hang on to his pole position. He's got 1.3 to Phipps. So Cloudon there, real good lap. Here comes Dan Davis towards the line. 1.2 moves up into second place.
Yeah, and qualifying here is quite important just because the further up you go, the less chaos you have to deal with, especially with turn 1 being such a open corner that tightens really quick. Because you're going to, especially, I don't think the LMP2 cars are going to be too affected. I think they're all going to take tight lines, but with the GT3s, you're going to see cars go really wide and then try to get on the power as soon as possible to maybe try a switch back, just because it opens itself up so much, and then it's going to It literally goes from a five-lane, 5 or 6 lane road to a 3-lane road in an instant on corner exit. So I think the LMP2 car should be a lot barred anybody running to the back of anybody else on the race start, because that seems to be a running theme for our top class here.
Here comes.
Because it's happened in the last 2 races.
Oh, Gray Langley couldn't improve there, so he's down in P5, the fastest man in practice earlier on. Here's Peter Love back out on the circuit once again in the Lexus. Another couple of Lexuses on the grid. We've got Wolfgang Schrodel back on the grid. Many of you may have known him, who's been at SimPlay Motorsport, as Green Wolfinator back in the day on ACC. But Wolfgang Schrodel, great to see him, and that of Erky Koglu back in the Mercedes-Benz as he spins into turn 1. Phipps has gone back to pole in LMP2, but the Mercedes-Benz, great to see yet another car out there on the circuit.
Well, yeah, especially with it either being a Lexus or a Porsche being probably the league favorite in terms of cars. We see some BMWs, but the BMWs kind of, in recent updates, been neutered a bit in terms of its raw pace it has. And the Corvette pretty much being the Honda of LMU for people watching from ACC. Of it can be quick, but it's all you have to drive it on. Again, a knife's edge.
Yeah.
I'm drink every time I say knife edge tonight and be plastered by it for tomorrow. But no, it's. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say Kieran O'Reilly moves up to P5.
Okay. You know, I don't. Honestly, I do not know if qualifying around here is going to be. For LMP2s, I think it's going to be important, but for these GT3s, especially with as Ben Rook goes fastest at 2:01.4, absolute 8/10 from him to Matt Townsend.
10th now.
And Matt Townsend responds.
John Wainwright moves up to P3, so the track getting better in this race at the moment. As we say good evening to Benedict Varga and to Chris Rook in the chat. I'll read the comments in a moment. Here comes Greg Langley towards the line, moves up into 3rd place, making it even tighter at the top. What can Schaefer's do? He didn't have a very good week, did he, last week? But can Schaefer's now, who's currently down in P9 in the LMGT3 class, coming through that of Sunset. In fact, I'll tell you what I haven't done. The championship standings. Phipps leads away 127 points from Kieran O'Reilly. Dan Davis on 89 is 3rd from Joseph Bates in 4th. James Wright is P5 from Jochen Cambrai. Then it's Rozalski, Jamal Clouden, Clark, Moulin, Silf, Segek, Lal and Beard, with Ben Parkey last on -4. In LMGT3, it's Bradley Duncan, James Wainwright, Matt Townsend, Gray Langley, Jimenez, Schaefer's, Daniel, then Vieira, Anderson, Fox, Horn Edwards, Peter Love, McMillan, Ford, Stapley, Zlatnik, Tristan Herbst, Hornsby, Rook, Plavins, Archer, Bergsma, Erky Koglu and Schrodel. And if you're wondering why we haven't seen Duncan tonight, he's not here. He's at work. So this will give him that drop score round going into the final 2 races of the season. Dan Davis is done. He is parked up on the circuit. So it's between Phipps, who's gone back to pole, and Jamal Clouden, who is currently on a lap. And as you can see there, has gone purple in that first sector. So Jamal Clouden looking to try and pick up the pace. Joseph Bates is down in 8th place in class. He's looking to find a bit more. Joachim Cambrai is 2.4 off the pace. He's on a lap as well. So these two will be the next 2 to be done. It'll be Joseph Bates first. James Wright's out there 1.4 off the pace of Andrew Phipps. But Jamal Clouden at the moment trying to find that half a second he needs to take back pole position.
Yeah, Ben Rook improves again. So Matt Townsend's already in the pit. So only people that can actually fight right now is going to be Schaefer's and Langley for pole. Langley improving both in sector 1 and 2. So he's on pace with his sector 1 and sector 2 times to take pole, but can he keep it all together in sector 3? Yes, but he stays he goes up to P3, so he jumps Schaefer in qualifying. So he gets the inside for the start in the GT3 field.
Well, Jamal Clouden's crossed the line, and it will not be pole position for Jamal Clouden. He's not managed to get the pole in. as Hornsby goes P10 in LMGT3. So does this give Benjamin Rook another pole position in his first one for a while? Here comes Paulo Vieira down towards the line. Comes Vieira now. And what lap time does he set? Goes and puts himself P11. Now Rhys Plavins is back into the pits. So then, that gives Phipps once again another pole position in LMP2. No one can stop him at the moment. And that gives Matt Townsend a point in qualifying as well. That also then means that is the Corvette that claims its second pole position of the season. So great to see there.
Ben Rook.
Ben Rook. Apologies. Yes, I've given the point to the wrong driver there. So not Matt Townsend. It was Ben Rook. Apologies, Ben. That gives Ben Rook another pole position. And it gives the Porsche... yeah, there it is. It gives the Porsche one extra pole position point. And that puts it on to 55 pole positions down the order. So we'll run through the grid very quickly for you. So in LMP2, it is Phipps. When they take to the grid, we'll be able to go through the grid. Catch up with the chat then a little bit. Good evening to Chris. Stow saying, who keeps burping down the mic? I know we're all nerds, but god damn, that's my good friend Tanner, I do believe. Gareth Hansen, hi. Gareth Hansen, hope everyone survives today's race. Fury's granddad, 70 for 9. Thank you, Tony. Phil Atherton, evening, Matthew. Loving watching the racing. Just joined another different league this week. I won't say what the league is in here. Keep up the good work. Let's hope Dan wins tonight. Thank you, Phil. Here we go, guys. Moments away from chaos. Chris Rook. It's been better start to the week than last week. Paul Williams, good evening. Evening all, it's a good one tonight. Looking forward to getting back to racing tomorrow night. Not looking forward to racing in this heat though. Yeah, Paul, it'll be great to see you out there. Benny Varga, and then he did a comeback to be proud of, Chris, but I hope he'll get a smooth start tonight, he says. In this one, right, grid order. Andrew Phipps on pole from Jamal Clouden P2. Callum Clark is in third place from that of James Wright. Then it is Kieran O'Reilly alongside teammate Dan Davis. There's no teams in this, but they are in the same stable. Jochen Cambrai is P7 alongside Fury. Van der Meulen P9 alongside Sylph. Ben Rook on pole in LMGT3 from Matt Townsend. I'm going to go back to the camera at the start of that of Andrew Phipps, but it's Rook, Townsend, Langley, Schaefers, Wainwright, Love, Erkin Koglu from Ford, Vorhauer from Hornsby, Vieira, McMillan, Anderson, Jimenez, Daniel from Schrodel, Bergsma from Horn Edwards, Ryan Fox from Stapley, Plavins from Zlatnik. We've got 32 cars out of the 36 slots available tonight, Tanner. What a grid for Sebring.
Yeah, especially around probably the hardest track on the calendar in terms of just trying to be consistent around it and not wreck the cars. So it's going to be definitely fun and interesting to see how hard these guys push, especially on the colder tires with the colder track, with a medium grip, so the track isn't as rubbered in as it was during qualifying.
Indeed, we're about to go green. OSW says, loving the broadcast, never watch any leagues, but this is fun. Well, hit that subscribe button, the bell to be notified, and like it if you enjoy what we see here, as we've got 100 minutes of LMP2 and LMP3 action. It is green and go at the start of the race, and Jamal Clouden looking for a run to the outside line of that of Phipps, coming in towards turn number 1. Clouden not able to run the Cloud9 livery for some reason, he was telling me earlier. And has to tuck back into second place as already everybody comes through a little bit pushy and shovey in the background between that of Dan Davis and Kieran O'Reilly, but we all look like we're through relatively clean at the moment. Sylph and Van der Meulen still struggling at the back as Joseph Bates and Cambrai are going at it, but the start of LMP2 was good. Tanner, what about LMGT3?
GT3 is all, everybody's through in straight, and the only incident is the Lexus of the 415 has a drive-through for, I'm guessing, improper start procedures.
And that's Erkin Koglu in the Lexus as he makes a big, gets sent one by the number 62 of Phil Hornsby. And Hornsby with a big dive, managing to go side by side, running the momentum livery on his car, coming through into the middle sector now. Still together is Hornsby and Erkin Koglu. The sun will rise, hopefully, in this race, or it is cloudy as well, to be fair. Tanner, so the cloud out there as well not helping things, but a great start already, and Phipps the man who leads in LMP2. Townsend though crucially got the jump on Ben Rook.
Yeah, and this is race for Townsend just to run away and hopefully score as many points as possible, just to make that drop score of his as high as possible, and especially with Bradley Duncan having to take a drop score of 0, so he won't be able to improve that drop or have a drop score that's beneficial for him. Schaefer's also got the jump on Langley, jumping him to third, and is now looking very racy behind the car of Ben Rook. I don't think he's going to be able to make a move down to the sunset.
He is.
Does look on the inside.
Pulls out, has a look up the inside. Benbeck's out of it. You see the little wiggle there from Schaefer's, who's gone very, very slow through the middle part of the corner. Ben Rook goes through. Has Schaefer's come under pressure from Gray Langley behind? No, he hadn't. So Gray must have messed up his run through sunset as well. And Ben Rook back into second place. Further forward, though, little fight developing in LMP2. Cambrai on the back of O'Reilly with Dan Davis just ahead. Van der Meulen behind them two as well with Fury and David Silf. In fact, it looks like Silf is going to have a look on that of Fury, a.k.a. Joseph Bates. I need to tell him how to change his name on race control so that it can say his actual name. But Joseph Bates here coming under pressure from that of Silf. Looking up the inside now goes Silf. Can't make the move there, but a good clean getaway onto lap 2.
Yeah, and that move between Schaefer's and Rook, it just shows the knowledge of where the bumps are from Ben Rook. He held the outside, had pretty much the smoother track. Schaefer's hit a bump, went wide, and Ben Rook was able to just do the up and under on with a clean and smooth run, and was able to get a run and keep the position. Now he's looking on the back of Townsend. Townsend unable to extend his lead, so he's now under pressure from the Porsche.
He is under pressure from the Porsche as Silf gets the move done on Joseph Bates there. So Callum Clark now putting Jamal Clouden under some pressure as well. Dan Davis has fell back behind Kieran O'Reilly. Back into LMGT3 then. Matt Townsend leads from Ben Rook. Schaefer's coming under pressure from Langley a little bit, who's got Vorher right there. Wainwright's just behind as well. And then John Ford, who's just dropped a little bit further back, still within 7/10 of Wainwright. Peter Love 7/10 back from him as they all filter through. Wellington Jimenez down in 9th place at the moment. Any other closer fights happening further down the pack? Yes, Bergsma on the back of that of Matt McMillan. In the Mercedes-Benz as well, I believe in the Momentum livery there. Did it look like it was actually a grey and blue livery, as that was Bergsma, who was just on the gravel a little bit. That's put him under pressure from Ryan Fox, who brings a lot of support in the chats week in and week out, does Ryan Fox, and he's been a great addition to this championship. Looking around the outside of Sunset, and Bergsma goes deep there through Sunset. That's allowed Ryan Fox to hold the tight line, power his way through Sunset. They go. And Ryan Fox up yet another place. So a great move there for Ryan Fox. Naris Plavins as well is on the back of Zlatnik in this one. Royden Stapley is 5 seconds back. And then Erkin Koglu, who's done his drive-through, he's only 28 seconds off the back of the lead in LMGT3. So not too bad for Erkin Koglu in this race, considering there's still 1 hour 35 left to go.
Yeah, and now that we're a little bit into this race, strategy is going to be a big part of this race. A one-stop is a bit of a stretch for these drivers. I don't think it's possible, even with any big types of fuel save. If they are trying to fuel save, I think they'll lose too much time with it. So I'm expecting to see a 2-stop race from these guys. Have one pit stop long with tires and fuel, and then another little splashy dash for 2 or 3 laps worth of energy and gasoline.
I agree. No, Phil, just to answer your question, I don't think Sebring is on Project Cars 2, so this is our first ever race at Sebring. Excuse me, and what a race start it has already been. Going back to that LMP2 fight, though, Clouden's lost 2 seconds now to Phipps, but has got Callum Clark within half a second, so putting him under some pressure. Davis still on the back of Kieran O'Reilly with Van der Meulen pressuring him down. He's also got Cambrai, Joseph Bates and Silf, who is back behind Joseph Bates. Having a look, though, maybe in towards turn 1. No, can't look there. Tries to carry the momentum through the corner. That puts Silf wide and onto the grass. The bonus for Sebring as well, Tanner, tonight is it is such a big circuit that traffic isn't going to be as much of a nuisance as early.
Yeah, no, we're probably going to get to about lap 10, maybe. If I'm taking a safe guess, lap 10 is going to be where we're going to see these LMP2 cars start to overtake the main pack. Of course, I think they're going to get to I can't say his name for the life of me. The Lexus of the 415.
Erkin Koglu.
Yeah, Erking. I'm just going to call him Erking. I apologize if it's wrong.
Kelly called him Erk on ACC a few seasons back, so you're totally fine.
Okay, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna catch him here within about 5 laps. So I'm expecting the LMP2 cars to catch to the main pack, and that's when we're gonna see the traffic management of these lead LMP2 cars and how these GT3s decide or behave around them, which is gonna be huge for the beginning because I'm looking at the estimated lap time or the estimated laps. Looks like the LMP2 cars, the slowest LMP2 car, has 5 laps
dear me,
more.
sorry, Tanner. Wellington dived up the inside of Peter Love and just taps the rear of him, putting him into a slide. Coming through the middle sector, Wellington is slow to give the place back to Peter Love, but they both lose out positions to Wolfgang Schodel and that of Paulo Vieira. So Wellington, day late, dollar short, now coming under pressure from Phil Hornsby in the Momentum Motorsport Aston Martin. Hornsby through, Wellington with a wiggle, and here comes Lightning McQueen himself, Gareth Anderson. A big thank you for him to getting the server up and running because it wasn't requesting ours. Who said there's not going to be many thank you mama for the carrots tonight? Well, Gareth Anderson, you've just passed Wellington Jimenez, so thank you mama for the carrots. Great move.
Yeah. To reference another league, that move looked almost identical to what his younger brother did at Fox Tech at Spa last season.
A crazy comment there from Tanner. Yeah, and you was completely right, in which SimPlay Motorsport are sponsoring him as well. So crazy. Thank you, Styles, as well, for the kind words. Who said in the chat just a moment ago, go on Fox, absolute legend. We came for Mr. Worldwide, aka Fox, but we've stayed for the banging stream. You guys do a good job. Thank you very much, Styles, on that one. Nice sportsmanship, says OSW. Great to see. Who's Wellington? I only know Beefy. You know him as well. The chat may, or the stream may know him as Wellington, the virtual grandstand. But yes, we do refer to him as Beefy on the channel. Beef Wellington is further forward, just ahead of Mr. Beef. Paulo Vieira was coming under pressure from the Mercedes-Benz of Wolfgang Schodel there then. Can't get the move done. Phil Hornsby's having a look on that of a yellow flag out on the circuit, and it is...
Schaefer's around.
So then, has he got back going? Yes, he has. But yeah, Schaefer's has been around. Easy corner to lose the rear of the car through that little section, Tanner, as well.
Yeah, looks. Looking back at the replay, he just takes a little bit too much curb and then it just causes him to go out in the grass and he loses traction. So that gives Langley P3 on track, and let's see if that allows him to get to the back of Ben Rook and show the pace he showed in free practice.
Dan Davis looks up for this. He was hassling the back of Kieran O'Reilly there and absolutely sends one up the inside past Kieran O'Reilly, and now Kieran O'Reilly's coming under a little bit of pressure from that of Cambrai, side by side through the first couple of S's. There you go. O'Reilly now coming under pressure from that of Joseph Bates, who fancies a look. Van der Meulen is right on the back, as is David Silf, and Joseph Bates holds on to that one, but has Van der Meulen just tucked underneath enough to get the run down towards the hairpin? Yes, he has, and might even fancy his chances over poor old Kieran O'Reilly, who's been absolutely swamped this lap, but somehow manages to stay ahead of Joseph and Van der Meulen and that of David Silf, and Van der Meulen and Joseph Bates are still going side by side through the hairpin, still together. Great bit of racing here in the LMP2 ELMS specification of car, and now Van der Meulen gets the job done on Fury, and Joseph Bates is going to have to fight that one another day. But out front, Phipps is checked out in this race at the moment, but a great battle in LMP2 here. I know we're only 11 minutes 11 minutes into this race, but normally you start to see the LMP2s just spread out a little bit. There's still a great pack here from Dan Davis down to all battle at the moment.
Yeah, and this lap we're going to see these LMP2 cars as well start to work their way through these GT3s. So the race, I have to say, has now started for these LMP2 cars. So they have to efficiently, they don't have to be quick, they have to efficiently get past all of these GT3 cars that are coming up now.
Yep, so Erkin Koglu has been lapped. He is only a 10th actually off the back of Royden Stapley as he thinks for a move into turn number 1. Can't do that. Stapley covers it off, but it looks like Erkin Koglu gets the run on the exit of turn 1. Backs out of it a little bit, so couldn't get the power down compared to Stapley, and now is a little bit frustrated. They are only 3 seconds off the back back of Bergsma as Ossian has just tumbled down the order with a yellow flag, and that is why he is off the circuit, is Ossian, in this race at the moment. So he'll tumble down to actually last place in that in the LMGT3 category at the moment. What's happening out front though? Matt Townsend in LMGT3 still leads 7/10 clear of Ben Ruck, with Gray Langley 7/10 further back from him. And because of the Schaefer's drama, whatever happened to him, that's given Langley a 3.6 second gap back to this man in P4 in LMGT3 at the moment, that of Sebastian Vorher.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the average usage, and it looks like the top 3 are all about the same, 4.5% through the start of the race, but everybody else behind them, 4.2 for Vorher, Rainwright 4.3, 4.2. So I still think the one stop is not viable around here, especially with the needing of taking tires and just having to do a cold out lap. But people still, or it looks like people are still trying to make that one stop work.
We'll see what's possible for them. Back down to the O'Reilly, who's been lost out now to Van der Meulen, who has a spin and all rolls the car backwards. And onto the grass went David Silf and Joseph Bates, who both carry on their way. But Van der Meulen dropped the rear of the car and round he went, doing a 25-point turn, it looks like at the moment, to get that car pointed in the right direction so he doesn't hit the pit wall. But yeah, lost it all on his own. And around he went, and yeah, he's got to do all that hard work once again. Carried the qualifying ban due to retiring last week, but he's okay now. Right, what's happening down in LMGT3? We've got Wolfgang Schrodel still on the back of Paulo Vieira then, as they come through in towards the middle sector now, and into the hairpin, I do believe we're heading now, with Schrodel in that Mercedes-Benz, just nearly onto the rear of that of Vieira, running in the Interlagos Sao Paulo special BMW livery. And what a race so far. And is that to drive her into the pits, or is that we've lost Bergsma? I did see a latency thing for Bergsma, so I don't think that's necessarily a retirement. That may just be the fact we have lost him due to connection.
Yeah, we had that same issue with last week in Pro. It's just, but that's a completely different thing. That was just ACC being ACC and just refusing to keep us connected. And I'm looking at the gap for the top 3, and it's just Townsend builds a gap to about 1.7, then Rook answers and brings the gap back down to within 7/10. But it just looks like Townsend can't get away, but Ben Rook can't get close, and then Ray Langley's just staying about half a second on the back of Rook. As it looks like he has a little, the rear steps out a little bit through Sunset. But yeah, Rainwright also dropped off the back of for here as well, as here comes the LMP2 cars now within the top 5 of the GT3s.
Yeah, I was just about to say, just saw Jamal Clouden and that of Andrew Phipps just start to put laps on drivers, and this is now going to be the tricky thing for Jamal and Phipps, isn't it? 'Cause if we go on board with Phipps, look, this is his onboard shot, not quite on the rear of the top 3 yet, but when he gets on the rear of them, they're all nose to tail, so it's going to be a difficult overtake for him to make. Jamal Clouden's a little further back, so Phipps might get it done on the run down towards the final sector. Jamal might be behind them going into the final sector, so tough ask from everybody here in this one. Callum Clark is into the pit lane, and he's making a pit stop. You can see his dots not quite in the same part as number 22. In this race at the moment, but here we go. So this is on board with Phipps.
Silf is around. Sunset.
Yeah, indeed he is. Yeah.
Heavy damage, no rear wing.
And he's missed the pit entry, so Silf's got to get that one back to the pit lane then. As here comes Phipps now, look, coming into the middle sector, in towards the bottom end of the circuit. Looks to go up the inside of Langley, but thinks better of it. It's just going to patiently wait a moment. This is now Phipps's opportunity. Past Langley he goes. Past then that of Ben Rook. Not quite yet. Goes to the outside line. Now gets past Ben Rook. And now this is where he's going to just lose a bit of time through this section on that of Matt Townsend, while he just waits for Townsend to get through. No, he goes through coming in towards the Le Mans corner. Runs a little wide. But look at Jamal. He was stuck behind Langley throughout the entirety of that section.
Yeah, but Phipps also had a bad exit going to this back straight here. So it might balance out here if Clouden can get past Townsend, and it doesn't. So he's got to go wider here. can he keep the car hooked? Yes, he does. He finds the smooth part of the track and is able to just do it around the outside. So that, like what I said before the race, the LMP2 cars are going to be taking that outside line, which is a lot smoother, and you can
Sylph has
keep the
parked
power down.
Sylph has parked the car. That's a retirement for Sylph in this race, who is having no luck at this moment in time in this championship. So Sylph with a retirement.
And looking further down, Schaefer's is now going to be on the back of Wainwright here. He's making his way back up from the spin he had early in the race. He still had, luckily he did it early in the race, so he's able to make it up. So he is catching the top 3. It's just he has to pass, he's had to pass a few cars to get there. So it's probably why he's not lighting up the scoring lap time sheets right now.
Yeah, indeed. Gray Langley within half a second of Ben. And while we just get a moment out there, let's take a look at the calendar. It's Gray Langley coming under pressure now from the number 46. I believe that is James Wright. Go side by side with Langley. That'll not really please Gray Langley too much. But yeah, I'm sure he'd have expected Wright to just wait a little bit more. But sadly didn't. That's put Gray now 1.2 off the back of Ben Ruck. And Gray hoping for a performance that doesn't match that of the US men's national team last night in the World Cup. He'll be looking to try and take at least a podium in this race, won't he? And I'm sorry for the US men's national team comment.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm just ooh, that's a bad move by Lang. I think Langley kind of chopped the nose off of Dan Davis. He was trying to go around the outside. So Langley and I know Gray, and Gray does not like, I don't know why, but he just does not like the prototype class field, or just in terms of multi-class racing. Every time I've raced with him and there's multi-class racing, he always like raises his fist and shakes it during, raises his fist and shakes it every time they pass him.
I'm with him on it, because at times, you say he chopped the nose off of Dan there, but it is Gray's, responsibility to take the line and be predictable, and that's a tricky section of the circuit. So, yeah, I know what you mean about Gray, but at the same time, I also do the same thing, as that is Wainwright, who's gone a little deep, coming through the exit of turn number 1, and this has allowed Schaefer's to move back up the inside. So the Lamborghini of Schaefer's back up into P5 now, ahead of John Wainwright. And if Bradley Duncan's watching this, he might just be licking his lips a little bit, because Wainwright's struggling out there in the Lexus. Not necessarily at Matt Townsend, but his other championship rival of James Wainwright, he might be licking his lips at the moment.
Yeah, it just Wainwright just hasn't seemed to have the car but underneath him in race trim for some reason. It's, as we have another yellow flag, it looks like it's for a LMP2 of
I'm not sure.
Fury. Was it Fury?
I'm not sure. Possibly. Not 100% certain. I couldn't say. I think I'm in trouble, Tanner, after my US men's national team comment, because Caitlin in the chat's put, look here, Matt, in capitals. And capitals means they're shouting. So I think I'm in trouble here.
Yeah. You forget the lengths we'll go to just to settle a petty argument.
Hey, I'm as heartbroken as you guys are, because I was cheering on the USA this season.
Yeah. Plavin's having a connection issue, or just having the latency issue pop up there. But no, so we should be clear of all of the LMP2s. I think Fury is the only one left in there in terms of, I think Fury and one more other driver that still hasn't cleared all the GT3 cars yet. But the top 3, after all the LMP2 cars have cleared them, are right back into their running order of just dancing outside between half a second and 1.5 off of one another. So it's pretty much like an accordion effect, like in Mario Kart, where no matter how far ahead you are, people will always catch you for some reason, or you get blue shelled. Hopefully there's no blue shell in LMU that we've not heard of. But
indeed, yeah. Just noticing, Tanner, that by the way, it's getting lighter out there now, so the drivers might just be able to start pushing hard. We'll see when that natural light takes over from the artificial light, but it's certainly getting lighter. Dan Davis looking like he's coming under a little bit of pressure from Joachim Cambrai here at this moment in time. So yeah, an interesting start already to this race in LMP2. But Dan, who looked like he had a bit of pace in qualifying, just hasn't really shown it so much in the race. But you don't know what he's doing strategy-wise out there.
Yeah, it's the one issue we have with not being able to see the energy or the fuel is just we can't really predict what they have without having any type of tool to look in to see how much fuel they have. But it's just I don't know the fuel situation in terms of strategy-wise for the LMP2s. It's going to be fairly interesting to see when they pit and how they're going to do it in terms of if they want to try to spread it out to 2 laps, like what we saw last week at Spa, where the winner, just because they saved enough in the first stint, they were able just to cruise home and didn't have to fight anybody. I don't think around here is going to be the same thing. I think it's just going to be full push for the entire 100 minutes and do the little quick math and everything for tires and fuel.
Well, what was I going to say? I've lost my train of thought. Lee in the chat saying we need a blue shell to stop Phipps's dominance. That's what I was going to say. Now, had our server worked at the top of the night, I could have had 255 kilograms of ballast to his LMP2 car to stop him. Because you can give weight penalties on this game. Sadly, we're on a friend of ours server, so I have no control over it. Good evening to Arctic Fox, as well as that of Mark Bell and Bearded Racing in the chat. What happened to Beefy? Didn't qualify well, tapped another car round. A bit like his brother last week. Lee West in the chat saying he
pulled a Jimenez.
He did pull a Jimenez. He
pulled a Jimenez.
Yeah, Beef pulled a Gordon. As Mark Bell saying, we need to give him some competition next season. Well, in terms of next season, get signed up. There's only one place to be. Hit the thumbs up button, smash the bell to be notified when we go live, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check us out on our Discord and our SimGrid. Get signed up. You don't need to do anything other than sign up, ball verifying yourself on Discord and reading and confirming the rules and regulations. You don't need to do anything. So you get yourself signed up and get yourself registered for next season, in which bits will start to go out for. There'll be a couple of off-season events for next season LMU for sure. Because obviously we normally have a 6-week break, Tanner, but with this season running 3 weeks less than the ACC season, due to the amount of tracks that was on LMU before we got our latest, or we're getting our latest DLCs, we felt it right to just do a 7-week calendar of the free circuits that came with the base game. So we'll see what next season brings, but yeah, there'll be some events, and next season will start for sooner rather than later, as well as we head into what will be our sort of fall season as well, won't it?
Yeah, and John Ford, again, doing the alternate strategy. He's going to try to, looks like he's trying to stretch it out to about 25 laps of fuel in that Mercedes-Benz.
Well, we've got 2 Mercedes-Benz going at it, though. Schrodel and Ford going at it. Schrodel moves up ahead of Ford, and yeah, like you say, is Ford just going to try and look at that one-stop strategy again?
Yeah, he's at 52%, highest out of pretty much everybody in the GT3 field that's near him. I think Love is the closest at 50% that haven't gone through the pit box. But yeah, it looks like him and looks like Ford here up in the Porsche and P4 are both looking to pit right around lap 25, 26 and just try to do the one-stop. So I may be putting a foot in my mouth here in terms of the one-stop, but the pit lane here is weird too, just because it's not on the you don't cross the start-finish line. It's the pit entry's right. I forget the corner
it's coming
name.
Through.
You have to do it, but
it's coming through that of the Genderbeen Bend, I believe it's called. No, I think it's just after Bishop. It's right just after, before the Le Mans curve it is.
Side by side.
Oh, save Schaefer and Vaux, so let's go on board with that. That's coming in towards the Collier curve, down towards Tower Turn. Schaefer's then got some good pace this week because he's gone a little deep. That's going to allow Vaux back up the inside in the Porsche. And Vorher makes his way through. And some good pace from Schaefers today. We didn't see the best of him last week at Spa, but tonight here at Sebring, he's looking quite good value for his money at the moment.
Yeah, and they're just coming around the corner with the pit entry, so that it's like the pit entry of Austria.
Yes, and to sort of back up your point as well, because you kind of work your virtual energy out in the LMGT3 to the pit limiter line, because that's where it then kind of almost freezes because of the fact you're not using the fuel, you're more on the hybrid itself. As Schaefers there just took the bump. Vorher has to brake and get out of it, but Schaefers, great move into Sunset, and through he goes up into P4. The daylight now rising here. We are 27 minutes in. So the LMGT3 drivers want to work out the virtual energy, Tanner, towards that pit entry line, don't they, where the pit limiter is applied. That's handy, but when you come to your last stop, you need to then work it out to get to the checkered flag line. So you're almost having to work out where your fuel's going to end twice on two different stages of the circuit.
Yeah, and it's going to be based on how much you want to save. Langley, again,
Ryan Fox is out the race. Ryan Fox is out the race. I just saw a comment in the chat. Foxy lost a wheel. Mr. Worldwide hit a wall, so Ryan Fox is out of this race. Well, the prancing stag has become the dead deer this evening. What a shame for Ryan Fox.
Where is he? I'm going to try to see what happened here. He looks like he might have. It looks like he lost it going through Sunset.
Difficult section of the circuit to get right. Isn't it?
He hit a bump on Sunset, and the car just kept going straight with no matter how much brake he put into it.
Oh, battle at the front of LMP2. Look, traffic is in the way as well. But Jamal Clouden was within a second now of Andrew Phipps. So Phipps maybe getting the worst part of the traffic than Jamal, because that gap was over 2 seconds before they come round to the latest bit of traffic. Jamal has been lapping a little bit slower than Phipps, so definitely the traffic has paid its toll on Phipps here. Through in towards the final section of the circuit. This is where Jamal's now got to be patient. Look, he's going to look around the outside of the Momentum car, diving up the inside. Not diving, but moving up the inside, should I say. And Clouden gets that one done with plenty of time. And again, now loses a couple of tenths once again, and the gap back up to 1.1 seconds. Dan Davis still got Jochen Cambrai on the back of him. Apart from that, it's the only LMP2 fights in this race. But Benjamin Ruck, look, within 0.3 of a second now of Matt Townsend. So interesting to see here. And both of these two have 1% more than Gray Langley. Now, 1% doesn't mean a lot at this stage of the race. It's when you're almost 2 or 3% more.
Yeah, Langley about 2% less than Benjamin Ruck. But this could just be be working into the Porsche's ability just to save its tires and energy just by just driving around. As if anybody that's driven LMU in any race longer than an hour knows, the Porsche for some reason is just like keying on its tires and energy usage. Yeah. For no reason whatsoever. It's just keying at saving tires and fuel. So especially around here, which I believe tire deck is going to be massive with just the bumps and it being a old track with old concrete. We're possibly seeing the tire advantage for that Porsche kicking in here, and it definitely when we have about looks like 19 minutes before halfway, and they're all about 9 laps away from boxing. It looks like for these top three.
Well, blue flag still being shown. Oh, Langley got dived a little bit there. That won't have made his day feel any better from the 99 of Callum Clark, who's tumbled right down to the back of the standings. This is your gap then in that of LMP2 with pit stops. I'm not seeing anybody pitting there, so I don't believe anybody has made a pit stop in LMP2, as you'll be able to see on the screen. I'm just double checking on my screen when it changes. Sorry, the only person who has pitted is Callum Clark. Callum Clark is the only pit stop runner of this race. If we change that towards the LMGT3 category, Let's see if anybody has pitted there. The damage is so much better than ACC, says Chris. Stars' driving wheel came off its stand and he couldn't get it back on in time. And then the Stag met the wall. Indeed, like a lost deer in headlights there. Dan Davis will know a little bit about that from earlier this year. But I digress. Yeah, nobody's pitted so far in LMGT3 either. As we can see the virtual, in fact, let's take a look at the virtual energy for the viewers at home to be able to see as well. There is the virtual energy now on screen. You can see there the difference in the usage between everybody at the moment. You will be able to see the percentage sign just at the left of the timing tower in the top left corner. That's more for my visual usage. If I could make that graphic smaller, I would, but I can't at the moment. But there you can see the top 16, at least in LMGT3, there. Time graphic. Back to the gaps. We'll do the intervals as well, shall we? As James Wright now. Clouden has had some form of a drama because this lap has fallen 18 seconds off the back of Andrew Phipps, and James Wright, who's got Dan Davis now behind him, are on the back of Jamal Clouden. So not sure what has happened in LMP2 here, but Jamal now coming under pressure from the two cars behind and is trying to put a lap on the pair of Mercedes-Benz in front of him. He manages... Oh, no! He's been clipped! He's been clipped by Wolfgang Schrodel, and Jamal Clouden is in the wall!
Oh, I was looking further back to see what happened with Jamal Clouden. Jamal Clouden went wide on the penultimate corner and spun in the grass, which caused him to lose a bunch of time. But with that, it's just literally from bad to worse for him in a matter of just a lap. His race is pretty much ruined in terms of a podium. So he's now just in get as many points as possible mode and trying to get the car back to the pits, repair it, and he's pretty much on 2 pit stops to the end of the race.
And John Ford got past that of Wolfgang Schrodel as well. So what happened to Jamal that you was looking back at? What happened for him to drop back into that position?
It's the same thing that happened with one of the other LMP2s. They just got on the power too much and the rear end stepped out and it just spun onto the grass. Look, he didn't spin on. He spun off the course and onto the grass, which is just really slippery around here, especially with it being so cold. So it was just a bad spin. As looks like Townsend's now struggling with the rear tires of that Corvette as well.
Yeah, possibly so. I'm looking at this Gareth Anderson trying to stay on the back of Daniel here, looking good value for his money. And this is why, by the way, we say don't retire from races. Oshin, who'd had that big drama, who's still 4 seconds behind Royden Stapley, has now gained 2 places. Bergsman, we're not sure what happened to. We know Ryan Fox has had to retire due to losing a wheel. And Silf, once again, another retirement. He's got 1 point to his name as Silf, and that was for a pole position at the very first race of the season.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember a driver that's been as unlucky as him. Because I know in ACC about a season ago we had Sam Williams, but he still was getting points and are like race wins and such, and he finished P2 in this. But I haven't seen anybody literally have the pace to win at all, but just have a point right now.
Yeah, completely get you. Jamal Clouden stationary in the pits. Joseph Bates. Oh no, he's still going. Actually, it said he was not doing any kilometres per hour on my my timing tower next to me, but he's still going. So Joseph Bates still out there. Jamal Clouden now trundling down the pit lane, but has now lost a lap to the leaders in the LMGT in the LMP2 category. Where is Cam
Race for the
Bray?
lead at the GT3. It's about to get spicy here.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Ben Rook now within half a second, now 3/10.
Yeah, Matt Townsend, Ben Rook, and then that of Gray Langley. Only 8 tenths behind, about 7 tenths behind Ben Rook. So Gray may fancy a chance here while they're battling. Gray's hit a bit of a purple patch at the moment, hasn't he? Yes, he's not taken a win this season at the moment, but he's started to find a good run of podiums so far in this season after what was a bold Circuit de la Sarthe race in terms of what he tried to do strategy-wise. He's finding his rhythm. You think Circuit de la Sarthe missed out on the podium due to strategy that he attempted and nearly paid off. Bahrain, he just couldn't pass Schaefer's for the podium. Monza and Spa, both on the podium. So Langley here, looking for a 3rd podium of the season.
Yeah, and now he has looks like Wright and Davis gonna pass him here through probably the most annoying section for them to pass, just because he can't use the entire track that he needs to get the most time out of that Lexus.
Well, Ben Rook's just been delayed a little bit in getting onto the back of Townsend due to the fact that the lead, Dan Davis and James Wright, have just come through to put a lap on them. And they got Ben at a slower part of the circuit than what they got Townsend at. So gap's been reopened up. Townsend gone purple in the middle sector as well. So good stuff there from Townsend. Joseph Bates is now in for his pit stop. So we'll see what Joe can do. No real battles happening. Dan's just dropped off the back of James Wright a little bit. But like we said, in LMGT3, we've got Wolfgang Schrodel on the back of John Ford once again. Mac McMillan trying to get onto the rear of Peter Love. And then that is all for the time being. Of course, bar the front two of Ben Rook and Matt Townsend. And you may notice on Ben's car, Big Apple Logistics. Well, we'd like to take a big thank you and say thank you very much. And check out in the description below our sponsors and partners of SimPlay. Design Manchester, who sponsor and are a partner of SimPlay Motorsport throughout the entirety of the whole of SimPlay Motorsport. Producers of vinyl graphics, laser engraved gifts, mugs, printed clothing, and much more, including SimPlay Motorsport merchandise. You may see the top I wore at the top of the programme, done by Mike Matthews and Design Manchester themselves. And Big Apple Logistics, who specialise in moving plant and heavy machinery worldwide. A big thank you for them for being our Le Mans Ultimate sponsor. In this series, 2 years we've had 2 seasons in a row we've had Big Apple Logistics as a partner. It's Kieran O'Reilly puts a lap now on Ben, and Ben all of a sudden now as Langley half a second behind him. So Ben here is just kind of, the traffic hasn't helped him, Tanner.
No, it just seems every time he's gotten close to Wainwright or Townsend, the traffic's helped Townsend just that little bit to stop him from even thinking about making a move, and it's put Langley in a proactive position to see if he wants to try to push that little bit extra to get past. But we should be seeing pit stops, especially for the top 4, here in the next 4 laps.
Yeah, so let's see what happens for the top 4 within these next few moments. As we're on to, like I say, 18, 19, 17% for the top 3 at the moment. 18% as well for Schaefer's. Blue flag being waved for Langley and that of Ben Rook, as Langley will be the first one to be lapped by the number 46. That is Van der Meulen, I do believe. Jamal Clouden, 16 seconds off the back of Joe Bates. That damage he got has cost him time to Joseph Bates. Yellow flag out there. Now, is that down by the...
It's just for their car in the pit lane.
Is it? I didn't think it did that. I wondered if there was a car off around the Erkin Coglu. By the way, Erkin Coglu back up to 15th place after the drive-through at the start. So he's had a mega race at the moment trying to come back through here.
Yeah, I bet he's having a lot of fun. He's probably having the racer's dream of just being able to catch everybody and having to pass them. So the further up he goes, especially since he can possibly just save a little bit here and get to the end of the race on one stop because he had that drive-through and he's been able just to save a little bit passing people. But he's definitely in the position to get to a good spot, just like how Ford is right now, in a good spot in the race to where they can save a little bit extra and have a really good pit stop at a really good time.
Well, they've got to go to that just under the 50-minute mark, haven't they, to know that they can get to the end of this race. That's where they've got to aim to get. If they can get to 50 minutes, then it will be cases. Oh, big dive up the inside, and that was Daniel in the Momentum 99 Porsche getting past Peter Love in his Lexus there. So Daniel moving up another position. And a great move from him. Big dive into turn 1. And the 99 Porsche of Daniel. We call him Daniel. That's his middle name. That's what he told us to call him because we can't pronounce his surname. And he didn't want us to fail at it. But yeah, Peter Love there just losing out on a spot to Daniel. Further back, Gareth Anderson coming under pressure now from Erkin Coglu, who has found his way past Phil Hornsby. Wellington Jimenez down in 16th place. Not having a great race here is Wellington.
Especially when I remember him saying this was one of his favorite tracks. It just looks like he just hasn't been able to use the Porsche to its potential around here, which is weird. His front end's a little bit dirty from trying to punt somebody off the track, so he might be having some understeer issues with the damage. But now, even though it's just yellow damage, Joseph
Bates has had a really long pit stop. Van der Meulen is out of this race, I'm noticing. DNF, was that the yellow flag? although it is in stop-go penalty as well. So Van der Meulen, I believe, is out of this race. But Joseph Bates, was this the yellow flag? Because he's tumbled behind Matt Townsend, Ben Rook and Gray Langley, full position on the circuit. So he's technically running 11th overall at the moment. But yet, Van der Meulen as well, DNF once again.
It looks like Fury is now Fury is now on the back of the top 3 as well. So he's gonna have to again pass everybody again, and I swear Langley's gonna ruin his A button on his wheel just by the amount of times he's had to flash these LMP2 cars. Just off of how annoyed he is by where they're passing him.
So we'll keep our eyes on it. Langley's within half a second of Ben Rook, and like I say, there goes Joe Bates now, who's been patient and now goes through on Langley at a sensible position here. And Langley would have wanted him to just maybe delay that of Ben Rook down a little bit, but hasn't. So yeah, but still for Gray, you know, he's right there, isn't he, with the leaders? He's right in this fight with the front 2. I think the traffic is just not helping him, and that's, you just see Matt Townsend just creeping away a little bit more now because the traffic has been more beneficial to him.
Well, yeah, and I bet he's also annoyed as well, just because I'm pretty sure P3 in his mind is the bare minimum he wanted for this race, which, good, you get a podium, you get another P3, it's just, I bet he's had a feeling, especially since he's been the one that's been able to stay within a second of Ben Rook, and Ben Rook's been able to catch Townsend at pretty much at will. He's been in the position of this race of just being able to probably be the fastest car in the GT3 field, and just he hasn't been able to do anything about it. It's just be happy as P3, but also annoyed that he hasn't been able to jump anybody yet.
Yeah, exactly that. I suppose we'll see what the second half of the race will show us in terms of what Langley's going to be capable of. Is he just also kind of just being patient, thinking that I don't need to make this move just yet?
Well, I think it was the same issue he had last at Spa, though. It's just he was too patient. He had the pace of the cars in front of him. It's just he was just too patient behind people and wasn't able to use it. He was fast at all the wrong spots he needed to be around, and just lost it. And just the second stint, he wasn't able to use the new tires. Looks like they're now passing Ocean.
Yeah,
with the 2 SimPlay cars going side by side.
I've just noticed that Dan Davis has dropped behind Kieran O'Reilly before the pit stops as well. And Phipps, Wright, Cambrai and Davis all into the pits. Callum Clark has already done a pit stop. Kieran O'Reilly stays out. So Kieran O'Reilly's going for one more at least. Langley still within that 7/10 of Ben Rook. Like I said, he was just getting past Ossian there. Daniel gaining on the back.
Langley has to be careful here with his virtual energy. He's right on the limit right now. Has 4.3 left, 3.9 now.
No, he's absolutely fine. Just because I was looking at his average earlier, and the average lap is 4.4. And if you look at where he is on the circuit, he's right near the back end of the track. So he's going to be boxing this lap. Yeah, in he comes. Langley into the pits.
So this is the undercut, but the only downside to undercutting around here is you're going to be on ice-cold tires if he does change them, which I think he should, especially with the tire wear around here. And he told me his strategy. I know I told you. I'm not going to spoil it for everybody. I'm interested to see if he does it here. It's going to be interesting to see if he
Schaefer's in as well. I think the question's going to present to itself is, could he save 5 minutes worth of fuel? It's 2 minutes a lap, so he's got to save what? Two and a bit laps of fuel, of virtual energy. Could he do that in this final stint to maybe not have to box again?
John Ford's pretty much doing the hard work right now. He needs to save, what is it, 22 laps this time. He would have to save about 26 laps, so he would have to save 4 extra laps.
Not seeing anybody going slow, so yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like Langley's not doing the strategy we talked about.
The yellow flag, Jamal Cloud out of this race. So Jamal,
Benjamin Rook on the back of Townsend here.
Just flicked onto that, but Jamal Clouden out of the race.
just again another driver that's just been unlucky in terms of just having mistakes cost him just a rear wing, a tire, and just unable to be able to finish a race without any major issues or damage. So with the race now getting to the point where we're at now, it's gonna be interesting to see where everybody's different strategy goes.
Oh,
interesting to see it where.
sorry,
what?
Tanner. There's an old face, a blast from the past. Holty929. If it is Ricky Holt, well, hello, my friend. How are we doing?
Oh, Ben Rook!
Ben Rook, drive-through penalty, speeding in the pit lane. Oh, Benjamin Rook has thrown away a potential P2 here. Right, where is Gray Langley? Coming up towards the hairpin. Well, Ricky Holt, good evening, buddy. Great to see you back in the chat. Hope you're doing well, my friend.
Oh.
Schaefer's is on the back of Langley here.
I don't think Schaefer's took tires.
No,
so
I don't think he did.
Oh, yeah, no, he's on warmer tires than Langley.
Yeah.
So Langley's going to be suffering for a lap or two here. They get close. So this is going to be the same issue that Langley had at Bahrain. He's got to have better tires at the end, but he's got to
Oh,
be
Tanner,
able to...
I think he's going to have much better tyres at the end compared to Schaefer's.
Yeah, but
much better.
the issue he's had all year is needs to be able to pass people, which
because don't forget,
I haven't seen him been able to do.
These might have to pit for like 2 and a bit laps of fuel. Yeah.
Yeah.
If Schaefer's tyres are dead and he has to pit and take tyres for that last final 5 and a bit minutes, Langley won't, because Langley can surely get 2 and a bit laps out of worn tyres.
I just don't think I think he's not going to save any type of energy this. I think he's got to go for a splash and dash.
Oh no, but that's what I mean. Even if Langley splash and dashes and Schaefer splash and dashes, Langley's not going to have to take tyres on his splash and dash because he'll get 2 and a bit laps out of them old, the worn tyres that he's clearly just put fresh boots on. Schaefer's hasn't. So Schaefer's has got to go the whole 55 minutes on worn tyres. Big, bold ask, depending on the state of the tyre wear.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where Langley is going to try to attempt the move here. Definitely going to watch that. And Benjamin Rook and Townsend also doesn't look like they took all 4 tires, because they're about 16 seconds up the road.
Well, interesting to keep our eyes on.
Definitely interesting. I still believe taking tires on your first pit stop or on a pit stop is definitely the way to go around here, especially with the tire wear being so bad.
Sorry, Tanner.
Vorher,
with 50 minutes 41 on the clock. So would that suggest that they could potentially get to the very end of this race? That's going to be the question.
I know one person that can get to the end of the race.
One person that
John Ford.
And I don't think John Ford's going to have a problem with it, because he's going to get this entire last lap in, which he's going to be pitting with about 48 minutes left on the clock.
Ooh. And looks like Peter Love as well. So we have 3 cars all within the safe range of getting to the end of the race on a single tank of fuel. So it's going to be interesting to see where these guys come out, and they should be taking tires and fuel for the on this next pit stop.
Yeah, indeed they should. So hopefully it'll be an interesting one to see what happens in this championship. Chris saying that Bren's got a drive-through, speeding in the pit lane, and yeah, Ulti, great to see you be able to get in and watch some racing. How's the young one doing in the go-karting? As Ben Rook, is he into the pits for his drive-through penalty?
Yeah, he's right behind Wainwright.
He is, yeah. Sorry, the camera didn't pick him up there. I thought he'd retired from the race. But yeah, right behind Wainwright. There is Matt Townsend, who leads from Schaefer. So Langley back on the net podium. But he's obviously got to get them tyres up to temperature. Right, so John Ford, Erkin Koglu, like you said, may only have to one stop because of that drive-through. Well, what a strategy that's been for him. And Peter Love, they're both on 2% though. John Ford, who's well up the road, has got 2% left. Let's go Fordy and Love, says Lee Weston in the virtual grandstand. What a race we're seeing here. Absolute fantastic race.
Yeah, and John Ford being the driver to pretty much try to the one-stop every race. So it's going to be... It definitely worked out for him around Monza. He just ran out of virtual energy right at the end. He didn't save enough. Peter Love at 0%. He's at risk of getting a stop-go here.
Yeah, let's bring on the car hood so you can see he's got 0.4% in the car. He rolls it through the penultimate corner before the pit entry, gets it slowed down, and in he comes. So judges it to perfection in this race.
It's going to be interesting to see where John Ford comes around, because since he was the furthest up the road, he's going to be probably the most dangerous to ever of the top 3 possible. He could be looking for another top 5 here. He finished P6 at Monza doing the same strategy. So let's see if it gives him the same amount of luck around here. He has to do about 24 laps, so the same stint he just completed on this fuel tank.
Who's that? Ford, did you say?
Yeah, Ford. Yep.
I think he'll be all right, you know, because look, he's coming out the pits now. He's not going to start using fuel until he takes the limiter off under the 50-minute mark by 2.5 minutes. And don't forget, he's got to get around the final corner. So he's
coming.
Yeah, he's coming out.
He's already P5.
He's ahead of Peter Love and Erkin Koglu. Erkin Koglu coming out the pits. Peter Love.
He's ahead of Vo here.
Well, Ford.
So no, he's P4.
Yeah. So by
he's
going
didn't take
that,
tires.
Yes, possibly didn't take tyres, but also going that lap extra has possibly been able to extend his stint. Maybe even went 2 laps longer than Vorheer. And it just depends if Vorheer is also fuel saving to try and get that extra bit of time out the car to not splash and dash.
Yeah, and look at the energy difference between Townsend, Schaefer's, and Langley. Langley already down to 85%, Schaefer's 85%, Townsend up to 89.
So Townsend, that to me would suggest that Townsend is trying to push to get the extra 2 and a bit laps out of it. Just because John Ford may have forced him into doing that strategy.
Well, you got to remember, Townsend pitted a lap after Langley did. Langley pushed a bit too much and didn't save that extra lap of fuel, so he's going to have a longer splash and dash at the end compared to everybody else around him. Schaefer's got the undercut done on him just by not taking tires, and Stapley has a drive-through as well, as he's now serving that drive-through.
So Stapley has a drive-through. Ocean will gain an extra place there, and we're watching the fight for P8 and 9 at the moment. Wolfgang Schrodel and Daniel here trying to make up a bit of ground. This is on board with that of Schrodel. We'll go back to Daniel's car as he looks to the outside line of the light and dark blue Mercedes-Benz. And Daniel looking racy on the back here. Porsche versus Mercedes. Daylight really starting to come in now as well. And the forecast said that it was meant to brighten up as this race went on. So the sun might even start to creep through. And that'll just raise the track temperatures a little bit more, causing them tyres to just lose even more grip.
Yeah, especially if the track keeps going up. It's at high grip right now. It should be. So it's at a good point, but track temperature up 3 degrees since the race start. More importantly, Langley's not catching up to Schaefer's here, as Schaefer's goes wide in turn 1 as soon as I say it.
Yeah, I think Langley's potentially here. I don't think he's fuel saving, but I think he's just got to get that car back into a rhythm. I think he possibly knows that Schaefer's has maybe not taken tyres and that this race will come back to him. That's what I think for Langley. I think he knows this race is going to come back to him, so he's going to try and do everything he can in this race. Schrodel now pulling away from Daniel in this one, so Schrodel being able to just start to pull clear. Langley within 6/10 so is Schaefer's. That drops down to 5. Just looked at further down the order. McMillan coming under pressure from Paulo Vieira as they're about to be lapped by Dan Davis going into turn number 1. Dan makes his way past the pair of them. Nice and easy for Dan Davis there. Wellington Jimenez has got himself up ahead of Phil Hornsby. So the SimPlay Racing Porsche, not Wellington, who loves his circuit, said it was his strongest one. Just hasn't had the pace tonight at all, has he?
Yeah, especially since there's no John Goody here. I'm surprised he's struggling so hard. Sorry.
No, don't apologise because I love it.
Uh,
Yeah, great to
yeah,
see.
no, but
We'll see what he can do. Great banter. That's just good banter in it, Tanner. You know, Ossian's off the circuit and stays off the circuit. Yeah, he's letting Schaefers and Langley through. I think he was letting one of the LMP2s a bit further up the road through as well. But Langley now a lot closer to the back of Schaefers here.
yeah, and he's in the slipstream. I don't think he's close enough to think for a move down into Sunset, but definitely turn 1's going to be a hot spot. He's definitely thinking about in the braking. You can see he has so much more confident in those tires to brake later and and brake deeper into Sunset. So it's going to be interesting to see if he tries to go for any type of dive into turn 1 or maybe turn 3 coming up here.
I think he's a little too far back for turn number 1, and indeed he is. Doesn't think of making a move through there. Schaefer's rear goes light. He holds on to it. Well, them dying tyres, that'll have hurt them even more sliding through turn 1 like that. Gray Langley up the inside won't have an easier overtake to make than that this season. And Schaefer's tyres, all they just starting to die, Tanner. In which case, he can pit to probably get to the end with a change of tyres now. But at what cost has that done for him?
If you lock those tires up, he's definitely gonna have a flat spot on, especially on the rear. So it's gonna be more vibration. More vibration means the car is gonna be a little bit more unsettled, and it's just gonna be that little bit more unpredictable. Especially and around here, it's only gonna multiply the difficulty of this track, which is already so hard to go around consistently.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what. We'll see what Schaefers will do, what his options will be in terms of pitting or staying out. But yeah, indeed, well held indeed, Rob Smith. But yeah, what a moment there. What a bit of dramatic racing for Schaefers as John Ford now coming under a little bit of pressure here from Vorher, who has looked the best of the Porsche drivers. So the second best of the Porsche drivers, because Ben Ruck has looked fantastic as well. Caitlin in the chat, what an overtake. She's bound to say
that. That's the same. That overtake was just like Belgium's second goal there, or third goal. Sorry, we kind of just gave it to them.
And then Adam Stewart in the chat as well. First time watching LMU, I never knew about the energy thing. Well, Adam, glad we can help.
Yeah, it's what makes LMU a lot more of a mind game than ACC. ACC you just push out and then a lot less. Then you just have to do some fuel calculation with how much you want to do.
Yeah.
Here you have to calculate your energy. Fuel's a lot. It bounces the cars out a lot more because in ACC, especially on the console, that's normally what happens when you.
It is normally what happens. Yeah, you are correct, Anna. You're on the ball. I've just got to double check at times that you're watching and paying attention. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Definitely not you forgetting that you boxed a lap earlier.
Definitely not me forgetting that you boxed lap early. Says the professional commentator. That's Stapler getting out the way for her and Ford in that one. Caitlin in the chat. Hey, I'm allowed to be. Excuse me. Hey, I'm allowed to be excited, no matter how simple or complex a situation may be. Indeed, you are, because you're cheering on Gray, and why wouldn't you? He's a lovely guy to cheer on. In the chat as well, it's. I'm going to call him Donut because it's the only thing that makes sense on his username there. Tagging Adam Stewart. Prestige. He did tell me about his name and I forgot again. It's a bop thing. View it as a stint timer. And that is the way to look at it, isn't it? That is the way to look at it, as a stint timer. Yes, it is for the balance of performance, which allows certain cars at certain tracks to be able to carry that bit more virtual energy. And this is where fuel saving in certain cars comes in. But it is almost like the stint timer you was just mentioning on ACC there, because of the fact it is pretty much counting down to when you have to pit.
Yeah, it's if I remember correctly, it's based on throttle percentage. It's not on how much fuel you're using. It's either throttle percentage or how long you are on, or how long you're on or how long you're full throttle, and it will just start counting down with your fuel. So there's like a fuel ratio. I'm pretty sure Langley's running about 0.82, which is just the ratio between energy and fuel. But Langley is catching Townsend here. I don't
you
know
said
if
you
it's
don't
fast
think Townsend took tyres. So
no.
we'll see. It was a 10th Langley took out of Townsend last lap.
No, he took.
No, that's best lap. So apologies, I've got to get used to this. It says best lap, not last lap. Langley did
last five laps. He's taken about an average of a half a second per lap. Last lap, Townsend did a 3.2. Langley did a 1.8.
Yeah, Langley took 1.8 out of him last time around. So, yes, you are correct. I've got to stop looking at his timing screen next to me because that only tells me fastest laps. And I do it every week. It was on his dummy account. Chris Maniac in the chat. It was on his dummy account. That's why I couldn't make out the name. Well, I hope you've subscribed on both accounts there, Chris. But yes, Adam, it is done not like the IndyCar as a push to pass. It is done to regulate the cars and sort of balance out how long the cars can go, to try and balance out the race, that when you do come to your final stints of the race, the action might be nice and close together.
Well, yeah. Speaking of IndyCar, man, I wish F1 was like IndyCar decided to do a
Don't
push
even
to pass system.
let's not even go to F1, shall we? Based off the weekend, let's not talk about it or discuss it.
Well,
right?
We could have these guys finish behind safety car, ruin any excitement at the end of the race.
I'd red flag the race. That's what I'd do. You know.
Really?
Oh, I'd have red flagged it for five sprint laps with everybody on the soft tyre. It would have been fantastic. Chris in the chat, by the way. Go on, sorry.
Would you do a standing start or a
standing start?
Single file?
Oh, standing start. 100% standing start. Everybody gets changed to a fresh set of soft tyres. 5 laps from the end. Lando, George, Lewis, Charles, all boxing it out for 5 laps. 4 of them. Oh, what a race that would have been at Silverstone. Chris,
especially with Lewis and P3.
Exactly, that's what I mean. You know, Charles would have probably got a good start because we know how good that Ferrari is. But yeah, you know. Chris in the chat says, by the way, I really appreciate your commentating, guys. Top-notch commentary. I have not heard better commentary in LMU. Great chat interaction. Much of enthusiasm. Great job, guys. It's a pleasure to listen to you. Followed on both. Thank you very much, Chris, for the kind words. We do try our best to bring every piece of action out there on the circuit. And we try as much to be as enthusiastic as we possibly can. In LMP2, I'll run you through the grid. Phipps leads the race, 14 seconds clear of James Wright, with Jochen Cambrai 13 seconds further back. Kieran O'Reilly's P4, he's 18 seconds off the back of Cambrai. Dan Davis is 35 seconds off the back of O'Reilly. Callum Clark a further 16 seconds back, and Joseph Bates has been lapped. Cambrai and Schaefer's, they've just made a little bit more contact as well. Just noting that as we flick through. And Schaefer's unhappy with that flash in the lights. Joseph Bates is a lap down, but still going because points mean what, Tanner?
Everything.
Prizes.
Oh, that's... well, we got prizes?
I believe Mike gets a trophy for the championship winner at the end of the season.
Oh, yeah. That yes.
Yeah.
I thought we got other prizes too.
Not yet. We'll see if we get some more sponsorship for other prizes as we go through. And hopefully get some more sponsorship.
Sponsor us.
Yeah.
I would do for Pepsi.
Dr. Pepper.
Pepsi.
Dr.
I would
Pepper.
prefer Pepsi. Well,
Pepper.
Dr. Pepper,
Gatorade.
I believe, is PepsiCo.
Langley goes to that university, doesn't he? Langers?
Yeah.
Put us in touch with Gatorade. Caitlin, put us in touch with Gatorade as a potential sponsor for our drivers to remain hydrated throughout the entire race. Matt Townsend leads in LMGT3 from Mr. Gatorade himself, Gray Langley. Schaefer's is in 3rd place in class. Go on.
You gotta put a Gatorade symbol on his car now. You gotta put a Gatorade symbol on his car.
John Ford is P4 on what could be a race-winning strategy here. Then it is Sebastian Voorher. Close to him, 7 tenths off the back. At the moment, running P5 in class. Ben Rook, with that drive-through penalty, is P6. So good result potentially for Ben Rook here. Wainwright is in 7th. Just hasn't had the pace today. Wolfgang Schrodel. Great to see him. If you remember him, Green Wolfinator from back in the day, that is Wolfgang Schrodel. Daniel is P9. Erkin Koglu, drive-through penalty on the opening lap of the race for being out of position at the start. He's come back through to be P10 at this moment from Peter Love with Paulo Vieira, Matt McMillan. Then it is that of Gareth Anderson, Wellington Jimenez, Phil Hornsby, Zlatnik, Nauris Plavins, and Oisin Edwards, and then Royden Stapley. Closest fight on the circuit, though. Daniel coming under pressure from Erkin Koglu. Is reading in the comments. Whoops, love tap, says Styles. I have been summoned, says Caitlin. Speaking of,
we need
when's
to
the
get her.
hydration break? This is why we need Gatorade involved to have an hydration break.
Yeah, get her. Did somebody join us again?
In the commentary box.
I swear I heard like the Discord join sound. I thought somebody decided to join us in the Discord again.
We did have that last week, didn't we?
I forgot. It was quite funny.
Yeah, they didn't say a word and just left, but they was with us for like 2 or 3 minutes.
It's like, we're like, you want to do an interview? We'll do an interview. And just left. But going back to racing, Langley's advantage looks like it's dropped a little bit. He's only gaining about half a second per lap, which is still good enough to catch and pass. It's just
that's
if his
because
tire advantage,
his last lap was invalidated, so I wonder if that's affected the last 5 lap average. I've just had a brief look at what he was on about there.
Yeah, and no, it's the same issue he had at Spa. Like after the pit stop, he just hasn't been able to snap on the car and the tires.
Yeah,
we saw early in this stint. As soon as the tires warmed up, he had it, but then it just started to plateau. It's an issue he has to figure. It's a mental issue. We know it's not a skill issue because he had the pace in the first stint. He was there behind Benjamin Rook and Townsend the entire time. He never really fell off the back of him.
Yeah.
It just seems like a mental issue with him. As soon as the second stint starts, it's just he doesn't have the consistency he needs to be there as Fury goes deep into the corner and slows him down a little bit.
Well, we're watching the fight between that of Erkin Koglu and Daniel here, who's about to get lapped by Kieran O'Reilly, the number 74 MSA car. There it goes. But yeah, you said it. You called it in the pit stops that Townsend you don't think has taken tyres. So with the forecast getting better as this race goes on, that's just going to play into Langley's hands that little bit more by having them better tyres towards the end of the race. But 14.3 seconds is a big ask.
Yeah, especially around here where being consistent is really hard, and just because if you're even a tire length to the left or right, you're going to hit a new bump that creates a new problem. As I think Schaefer's is actually, no, he's been dropping off the back. Never mind. I forgot he was in front of him in the beginning. I did an oopsie. No, but Langley is consistently pulling away from Schaefer's probably about a second in the lap as Wright. James Wright looks
Daniel.
like he takes the.
I don't know what's happened there. The camera's just panned away from him, but it's pulled over.
Oh, he's in the wall.
Yeah, he's just pulled over into the side of the wall. That's allowed Erkin Koglu love. Vieira's now come through. McMillan will now get through in the background. Where's Gareth Anderson? Through he comes. And Ossian's back into the pit lane. So Ossian may have a bit of damage, but not sure what has happened to Daniel there. But he's stopped. He's stationary on the circuit. Yeah. And he now returns to the pit lane. DNF for Daniel. What a shame.
I'm looking through the replay to see what happened. To see if it was like a wheel issue or something. He gets past people cleanly. Oh, it's not damaged. It doesn't look like a wheel disconnect because he brakes and turns. It's just it's weird. It doesn't look like a wheel disconnection. It's not a pedal situation, so it could be something that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
That something out of his control that he has to go deal with. So it not gonna bash him for tiring for a reason that we don't know.
No. Connection issue, says Caitlin. I wouldn't have said so because the fact he was parked up for so long. I mean, it could be that he's lagging on his end and he's pulled out the way to not be a nuisance. Would be the only thing I could suggest connection-wise. But hey, we'll wait and see. That'll be summoned to the stewards. Gareth Anderson goes wide onto the gravel, loses the rear. And Wellington Jimenez, thank you, Mama, for the carrot. So does Phil Hornsby. Through, there you go. As is that Daniel in the chat? TZ3AP4, is that Daniel?
Oh.
His VR headset ran out of battery. That explains why. So he couldn't see a thing.
You're using VR?
Well, fair play if he's using VR.
Yeah. Hey, Duffin won't kill you for that.
I'm not a steward.
Well, man, I wish there was a stat or a way we can pull stats on how many times somebody's used their flashers. Because I'm pretty sure the Guinness World Record would be for Langer's flashes per minute around this track.
I don't know.
he's been on that button. It's all night flashing. Almost every LMP2 car that overtakes him.
I was a major flasher of the lights back in the day. Yeah, I could not stand. So much so that back in the Project Cars 2 days, where ACC and this, one press the button, it flashes multiple times. Project Cars 2, it was every time you press the button, it was on, off, on, off, on, off, right? So it did it on its own. I looked like a disco ball on a night race with my lights, because if someone had touched me and tapped me, spin me around, push me wide, whatever, onto the grass, I'd be absolutely hammering the button to flash at them. So yeah. So he might have Dan and Mike Matthews back in the day had to bring a rule in that he wasn't allowed to overly excessive flash, because apparently I just was getting too much with it. Have they not watched the British touring cars? I mean, guys, come on.
Yeah, but those guys get paid to do it.
Yeah, fair one.
Yeah. So looks like Langley's advantage in terms of pace-wise, probably not tires, is definitely has gone away into. It's just he hasn't been able to catch. He's lost a second, and then he gains a half a second through sunset. As soon as I say it, but any pace advantage he had is now gone. It's both Townsend and Langley's last 5 average are a 2.5. So it's these small mistakes in the second stint again that's hurting Langley's chance of winning this race. Yeah,
we'll see what happens here. Ryan Fox in the chat, just calm down enough to watch the last half hour. Who's retired other than me and GT3, and what's the order looking like? Well, I'll gladly tell you. In LMP2, it's Andrew Phipps who leads from James Wright from Jochen Cambrai. Kieran O'Reilly is 4th from Dan Davis, with Callum Clark in 6th. Joseph Bates is 7th. Off the track again, struggling tonight is Joe, and a lap down to his LMP2 comrades. Matt Townsend leads from Gray Langley. Then it is Schaefer's from that of John Ford. Sebastian Vorher is 5th, with Ben Rook in 7th. John Wainwright is Rook is 6th. Wainwright is 7th. Schrodel is 8th from that of Erky Koglu, now up into 9th. Peter Love is P10 from Paulo Vieira. Matt McMillan is P12 from Wellington Jimenez. Then it's Phil Hornsby, Gareth Anderson, Zlatnik from Nauris Plavins, Royden Stapley, and Ossian Edwards, who's 1 minute 23 behind. And Daniel is retired, Ryan Fox retired, Bergsma retired, and we've lost Van der Meulen, Jamal Clouden, and David Silf from the race.
Yeah. So Langley's in the part of the race now where he has to catch over a second per lap.
Yeah.
In terms of pace, and he's still stuck at this 14-second gap in the GT3s. Schaefer's is slowly but surely losing the back. Ben Rook has not looked the same after his drive the second stint as well.
Well, you also thought that Ben didn't take tyres, because him and Townsend had a massive gap over Langley. So you also felt like he didn't take tyres, and then he's had that drive-through. So it's probably just all adding up for him.
Yeah, but he's almost a second a lap slower in the last 5 laps than Townsend, which is just weird to think about, since Ben Rook was literally on the back of Townsend the entire first stint, and what car he's in as well. So it's just weird to see him struggling for pace. Yeah,
which is a shame, but let's see what will happen in this race, and we'll get to see what will happen to the drivers out there on the circuit. So Ryan, what a shame for you, Ryan. We didn't see what happened, but we heard in the chat that you'd lost a wheel. Sam, a wheel is attached to my desk. Somehow it came off. Can't have been on tight enough. First time it's ever happened. Trying to fix it whilst driving. Ended up being part of the barriers. Don't know if I'm more gutted or mad. That might have been the problem then.
Yeah.
So when Styles put in the chat that his wheels come off, we assumed that he'd hit the wall and he'd lost a wheel. He's actually lost his...
Well, he did lose a wheel.
Well,
while
yeah,
hitting the
but what I
wall,
mean, he's actually lost his Sebring wheel. Not a wheel on the car.
I got super. You gotta super glue it down now. Gotta find some type of like a Gorilla Glue or something to put it down on the desk.
Oh,
You don't need to
Plovins
move anymore.
is in the wall. He's just had a spin right in front of Ford as Vorher's trying to catch Ford here. And Plovins just had a spin. Thankfully, well clear of Ford. So Ford didn't really have to adjust anything in this race. So we've had a lost wheel, a died VR headset. And then the others, we don't know.
We haven't heard from your Russian friend yet. What happened to him?
Plovins?
No, not Plovins. Bergsma.
Bergsma's Dutch.
Oh, he's Dutch?
Yeah.
Oh. Apologies. Oh, Langley now a second faster that lap, so he's finally...
Oh, Erkin Koglu's game's just crashed. He's just put in the general chat on Discord, his game's just crashed. He's in the pits. He'll be able to get back in and carry on in the race, but the drive-through penalty, and now his game's crashed. Erkin Koglu has not had the race to remember. He can get back in, and he has actually got through three-quarter distance, because three-quarter distance is 25 minutes. So he will actually score points for at least 19th place here with Erkin Koglu.
Yeah, but not me. She came running. Sorry, I'm laughing at Ryan Fox's just the situation. Grabs my wheel and I'm going around the corner. I can just see it, just her trying to hold down the wheelbase while going through sunset and just going straight into the wall.
Oh, Tanner, here we go. We've obviously worked the points out for 18 drivers in LMP2 and 18 drivers in LMGT3, correct? Which means for the first time this season, we've got 19 GT. We had more than 19 GT3 drivers on the track. Erkin Koglu will classify as 19th. Will still score no points because he's 19th.
He's in the garage. Did he crash? Oh, he's the one that crashed.
He's had the game crash. Yeah. It looks like John Ford's got the
strategy done.
The strategy done, but he's pulling away now from that of Vorher. Sun's starting to come out a little bit now, Tanner, as well. It looks like it's brightening up even more.
Yeah, track temperature still about 21. It's about 21.3, so it's up 2.3 from the race start. The weather's up 5 degrees from the race start, up to 25 degrees Celsius. Track grip is still high grip, but yeah, and so now Langley needs to worry about how close is John Ford to him in terms of track position. He's going to have the better tires and doesn't have to worry about fuel saving at the end of the race. But
here's another one for you. Langley is gaining on Matt Townsend. The gap is now under 13 seconds.
It's not fast enough, though, I think.
But if that's an indication that his tyres are going off, if they start to really go, like I say, the track has improved. It has got hotter by 5 degrees from the start to now. That's a big jump.
But I'm looking at their average. Yeah, I'm looking at the average time. Townsend's lap time hasn't gone down. He's still doing about the mid 2 minutes. He's about 2 minutes 5, 2 minutes 6. Langley's finally started doing low 2 minutes, 2 minute 2s into the 2 minute 1s on those tires. So it's not Townsend's tires going away. It's Langley finally putting that car into the right gear and going and using the pace he has over Townsend.
Well, let's see what happens towards the very end then. So, Erkin Koglu will be classified, like we said, but 19th place is not a point. Dan Davies back in for potentially the final stop for the LMP2s. Remember, they pitted a little earlier than the LMGT3s here. So, the LMP2s, which is just based on fuel for them, they've got to get to the end. But this is your race leader overall and in category. It is that of Andrew Phipps at the moment. As Daniel says in the chat, curious to see if Love makes it to the end and beats us all on strategy. And that's what we're waiting for, really, as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Peter Love, Rainwright. Rainwright's in the Rainwright, Vorher, and Ford. They all look like they're in the right position to finish this race on no more stops. I think John Ford has +1 lap of what he needs to He may have +1. I think he's close enough to getting +1. So he's in the position, if the race goes one extra lap than what these drivers are thinking, especially with how far ahead Phipps is. If this goes an extra lap, John Ford and Love are going to be in the perfect position to not need a splash and dash.
Yeah, 100%. Right, we're into the final 20 minutes then of this race. Not a lot happening at the moment, so don't forget, if you are new to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. If you are new and hit the bell to be notified, as well as check out the description below. Our fantastic partners, Design Manchester, producers of vinyl graphics, laser engraved gifts, mugs, printed clothing and much more, including SimPlay Motorsport merchandise. Go and check them out on Facebook, search Designed Manchester. And Big Apple Logistics, who specialise in moving plants and heavy machinery globally. Go and check them out as well as keep up to date with everything SimPlay Motorsport, whether it's involved in the Discord, on the SimGrid, or check out our social media platforms on X, Instagram, and Facebook and TikTok. But we don't really use TikTok too much because I just don't have the time to keep it sorted. Go and check out our social media platforms though for keeping up to date with all the tables and everything that happens around SimPlay Motorsport. In this one then, what a race it's been, Tanner, at Sebring. More drivers once again making their own dramas, and we're actually seeing incidents.
Yeah, and I think bar 1 or 2, most of these people are going off on their own, so it's not the difficulty to pass, it's just the difficulty of the track that's causing people to wipe out, crash, and have all these issues. So we should be seeing Langley box here in about lap 45. Townsend's gonna be about lap 46. Schaefer's be lap 45 as well. John Ford looking to go to the end, which he is more than safely through. For here, needs to save about a quarter of a lap still in terms of energy. Ben Rook is in the same boat. Rainwright needs to save about a quarter of a lap. Wolf still needs to box for a lap. I don't think he has enough track time to save that lap of fuel. Peter Love is safe on fuel, may need to save a little bit, but he's more than safe. Jimenez looking good on fuel as well, but where is he? He's just coming around the hairpin. He needs to save about half a lap of fuel. Ocean safe on fuel. Stapley is, I believe, may need to save half a lap, but he seems safe on fuel. But those are the people that are close. Top 3 all still need to do a splash and dash. And John Ford still in the range of just undercutting Langley in terms of not needing to box again.
Well, let's see what will happen in this race. 15 minutes left on the clock. This is your LMGT3 leader, Matt Townsend, who's been doing a great job. Got the gap back up to 14 seconds to Langley, so that one looks under control. Chris Rook saying, is this a two-stop race? Well, we're about to find out, Chris, because the majority of the field will be making a second stop, and it's just whether John Ford has been able to save enough virtual energy in the 2 stints he's done to get to the very end. He came out the pits with about 47.5 minutes left on the clock. That would suggest, yes, with the 50-minute mark being half race distance, to me that would suggest that Ford is on the one stop, but it's what everybody else is doing out there, and at the moment, for the top 3 especially, definitely looking like a two-stop race.
Yeah, and I think the only person that's going to be happy is the two-stop race is Towns. He's been able to hold the gap, and he hasn't had Bradley Duncan, which he's at work right now. He hasn't had him to worry about needing to push or catch anybody. He was second, took the lead before turn 1, and pretty much hasn't looked back since.
Jimenez, just seen Townsend, sorry, Tanner, there, go through turn 1, wondered what the yellow flag was for, was looking at the track map to see a car slow, and it was Jimenez in the wall on the exit of turn 1. So he's spun onto the inside.
Yeah, looking at the replay, he just got on the power too early. And the rear end of the Porsche just bounced out of control, and he didn't get on the brakes fast enough to get the car around. Luckily, he has no damage on the car. Just gave a little love tap to the inside wall, but he lost the position to, looks like, Hornsby and the Lightning McQueen mobile of Anderson.
Yellow flag again out there. That's now gone. I believe that's Dan Davis coming through to put a lap on Townsend, the number 16. Yes, it is. That's Dan Davis putting a lap on the LMGT3 leader. Not really any battles happening out there on circuit at the moment. Remember, we head to the land of the rising sun, Japan, for the Fuji Speedway race next week. Back to Fuji. We've not been there for a few years, since the Project Cars 2 days. So back to Fuji we go, and then we end the season in 2 weeks' time at Portimao. So the Algarve, Portimao in Portugal. We end the season there in what looks like at the moment Phipps in control of his championship, but LMGT3, you know, Wainwright's not had the best of nights here. Townsend's going to close that gap on Bradley Duncan with the drop scores we're going to see, but it looking like it's turning into a two-horse race between Townsend and Bradley Duncan here.
Yeah, and it just depends on, can Townsend beat Bradley Duncan in the last few races as well. That's the one thing he hasn't been able to do, is just to get in front of him and pass him. We know which drop score Townsend's going to have. It's going to be Monza, just because he wrecked on pit entry and retired. So we know what his drop score will be. So he literally needs to finish. He most likely needs to win the last 3 races here, as he looks full in control of this race. It doesn't seem Langley has any answer or a consistent answer to him. Is like, I'm looking back at the average last lap 5. Townsend tires are starting to go off 2.9, but Langley last 5 2.8. So even with the better tires, Langley has not been able to do it, which is weird to see, because he was the fastest out of the top 3. Even though he was P3, he was the fastest out of the top 3 and just hasn't been able to show it in the second stint.
Yeah, and who has the fastest lap in LMGT3, I wonder? Just having a look. 201.84 Langley. It is Craig Langley. Yeah, Langley's got the fastest lap of the race with a 201.812. A tenth quicker than Townsend, Schaefer's and Ben Rook. So Langley has got the fastest lap here. In LMP2, the fastest lap is going the way of Phipps. The only other man in the 47s has been Dan Davis, but he must have had a drama somewhere, because he's now a lap behind Callum Clark. So yeah,
somebody just went to the pits. Phipps and Wright both in the pits for LMP2s.
Not surprised. Dan Davis has already done his stop, so Dan should come through and unlap himself there, and indeed he has. So I'd assume we're going to then start to see Cambrai come into the pit. Here round he comes now. Does he box? Yes, he does. What about Kieran O'Reilly, who's about to come round to that section of the circuit? In which case, I'd imagine Callum Clark also will. He's only at the hairpin. So this should allow Dan the chance to maybe just get back onto the same lap as these drivers.
Yeah, and Langley should be coming into the box this lap as well. He does not have enough to go around again, so he needs to box this lap, so he won't be short on energy for this lap.
And Schaefer's possibly at a push as well.
I think Schaefer should be safe.
Schaefer's and Townsend will be in at least on the next lap.
Yes. If Schaefer's wants to be extra safe and not worry about lifting and coasting, he should be in this lap for a splash and dash. It's going to be interesting to see where John Ford comes out in terms of where Gray Langley comes, just because how odd in this. It's a long pit lane, this one is. It's pretty much the length of the entire back straight here, so you do lose quite a bit of time going through the pit lane. It's not a Spa's endurance layout long, but it's still long enough to matter, and long enough to want. It's like, I may want to, or you may want to one stop. I'm surprised that the one stop looks this good so far. Looks like Vorhier is actually almost caught up to John Ford's in terms of energy. So these two could be possibly looking for battling for P3 and maybe P2, depending on where Langley comes out, as he's just behind Jimenez.
Well, John Ford is only 25 seconds behind Gray Langley, just dipping under that now. And like you say, Langley's got to box this lap. Schaefer's just behind by 15 seconds. Can he get... he's just dipped into 5% as Schaefer's. I think Schaefer's has got a box this time around. Whereas we know that Townsend's got one more lap in him. So Langley into the pit. So where is Schaefer's then? Apologies for keeping the calendar loaded up. 8 minutes 50 seconds to go. Schaefer's, what's he going to do? He's got 5% left as he's approaching the pit entry. He's coming in. He stayed towards the inside line to come into the pit lane. Schaefer's into the pits in this race. So John Ford now will get ahead of Schaefer's.
A bit long into his box.
Well, that's going to be it then, because here comes John Ford through into the S's now. He goes. He's just now approaching Le Mans Curve. Langley's away, but John Ford rounds Le Mans Curve using that extra curb on the runoff. He's got Vorher fighting behind him. Langley's not just going to lose one place, he's going to lose out to Vorher, and he's going to lose out on the podium. Has Vorher, though, got enough in the tank to get to the end of this race, Tanner Kneebone?
He's just on the edge. He needs to save about 2% more. So John Ford being right in front of him is it's pretty much a godsend to him. As Schaefer's is all the way down to P7. He might lose a position to Wolf here. It's going to be close, but I think he's going to be able to keep P7. But Gray Langley all the way down. He's behind Ben Rook.
Ben's got to pit again, though. If Vorher's on the cusp, Ben's got to pit again. But Wainwright might be on the cusp, just dipping into 19%, same as Vorher. Langley stays ahead of Wainwright, but this now crucial for Gray Langley as to what Ford and Vorher do in this race. Has Langley just lost a podium? Sorry, Langley hasn't lost a podium. Vorher and Ford have gained a podium due to a great strategy.
Yes, and it's all going to be dependent on how Ben Rook wants to play this. Ben Rook's just on the. I think he's just on the edge where he needs to do. He needs to save a little bit extra. So, I wonder if Ben Rook is going to try to defend this or not. I think Townsend, even with the pit as he's now in the pits, I think Townsend should keep P1 cleanly. But yeah, he's going to easily keep P1. But it's good. It's going to be dependent now on when Ford wants to push. When Ford wants to push, he's going to leave the Porsche behind him because he doesn't need to worry about fuel saving anymore. And I think Vorher is just catching up in terms of he's about a 1.5% behind that Mercedes in front of him in terms of remaining energy.
I'd agree. Is Anderson there just clipping into the wall a little bit. And, interesting to see.
Townsend out, completely clear.
But is he completely clear?
Easily.
Yeah, 6.6. So just depending on what them tyres do. O'Reilly, though, since the pit stop, has got ahead of Cambrai by 26 seconds. So it makes me wonder if Cambrai had a problem. And O'Reilly's now on the back of James Wright, just being held by a little bit of traffic there was Kieran O'Reilly. And O'Reilly now has got to try and fight to get onto the back of James Wright here.
Yeah. Let's see here. I keep switching through. Fury into the wall through Sunset.
Yeah, he is and stays to the inside. That's Langley and Wainwright, who's just unlapped himself.
Hornsby drive through as well.
Hornsby drive through. There we go. Vorher putting pressure on Ford even more now. So we'll see what Vorher can do.
See what Ben Rook can do. Ben Rook, I believe, is just on the edge of what he needs to get to the end of the race. Timing-wise, he's averaging 2-minute 4s, so he's about a second a lap slower than what Langley was doing in clean air. So it'll be interesting to see how hard Ben Rook wants to fight this to keep P4 and possibly try to catch Langley in this championship.
Well, let's keep our eyes on what will happen in this race for sure. It has been a fantastic race to watch and witness once again. 2 rounds left after this in the championship. As what's going off with Langley? That's Fury putting a lap on him. Langley gaining on Ben Rook, hand over fist. Vorher trying to stick with that of John Ford. Does Vorher have to pit again? Bring up the car hood. Look, that says 3.2. What's left? Vorher is going to get to the end.
He's he still needs. I still think he needs to save about another 10th.
I think Vorher's fine. I think the person who's close is Ben Rook. In fact, actually, yeah, no, you're probably right because he's not at the racing line, is he? At 3.1, according to what I'm seeing on the car hood for Vorher, as he comes down towards Sunset.
Ben Rook needs to save 0.2.
Yeah, Ben Rook, I think, is going to have to splash and dash. It's too much to save with little time left to go. Vorher might just have to save point 1 here. Might just have to save point 1. We'll see if it's enough for him as he comes through Sunset, trying to put the pressure on Ford as well, who is only, by the way, 6 seconds off the back of Townsend. So if Townsend's tyres are going off, could he get onto the back of Townsend at the end of this race? Big ask with 3.5 minutes left to go. Also back up in that LMP2 fight, O'Reilly's now dropped back 2 seconds. Down to Langley, who has actually got past that of Ben Ruck by 0.6 of a second. So Ruck's tyre's dead. Plus, he's just trying to do that little bit of fuel saving to get to the end of this race. Gareth Anderson, Kachow himself, on as that of Wellington Jimenez, right behind him by 0.5 second now. As we say, a very good evening to Yoshi. Also, hope you're doing well, buddy.
Yeah, so flipping through the thing here, Renwright looks like he could get the move done on Ben Ruck here. They're both similarly in the danger zone in terms of getting to the end of the race. Langley completely safe. He did not take any chances in terms of energy. John Ford looks like he it didn't work out in Monza, but definitely working out now at Sebring.
Really is. Happy for him as well after Monza, because it was a great strategy call at Monza. So really happy for him here to see it working out this time as well, as this is then that of Anderson with Wellington Jimenez very, very wide into Sunset. Just hasn't been Jimenez's day, has it? Gaines, though, coming through mid-corner, so maybe a different line for Wellington over Anderson. Pushes through. Yellow flag on circuit once again. That goes quickly. We've lost Daniel, we lost Ryan Fox, we've lost Bergsma, we lost Van der Meulen, Clouden and Silf from LMP2. And Andrew Phipps. The problem is here, where's the leader with who's lapping at 1 minute 47? Right, this is the penultimate lap of the race, because Andrew Phipps has just come through the halfway stage of this lap. Sorry, the middle sector. He's just entered the final sector, and he now has less time remaining than his fastest lap of the race. So we'll be starting the final lap next time around. So Langley's got 1 lap to see what Vorher does, who's 9/10 off the back of that of Ford.
Oh,
so with one more time to go around,
are praying the rate. They get lapped by by Phipps right now. They're both at 1.8 left with about 2 laps to go. So they're both racing each other, but heavy lifting goes.
Yeah, and I also think, you know, that so is Vorher, who's only just coming up to the hairpin, 1.6 left in his car. Ford as well, 1.9. Ford might be a little bit better off here, but Andrew Phipps is coming across the line. In fact, no, he's started the final lap of the race. Game on here, Tanner. Yeah. Game on at the end of this one now.
Yeah, and this might help Langley, who had the consistency problem in the second stint. So if this goes an extra lap, John Ford and Vorher would have to pit.
No, I think Ford's safe.
Yeah,
I think Ford's safe. I think it's Vorher.
Well.
It's going to be tight for Vorher.
4.3. It's going to be tight, yeah, but...
Because look at Langley. He's already got the gap down to 4.5, so this is going to be tight. They're not going to be lapped by Andrew Phipps, because he's only just coming down towards that of Tower Turn. This is going to be race on to the end. Mathew Bird in the chat. Is that John Ford and Andrew Phipps? Indeed it is. Good racing, lads. Another good night of racing up the Stags, of course. You may have heard of them. I didn't even know about this league. Yep, brilliant league, Mathew. You should get yourself involved. And James Wright, and Peter Strangelove, and Vince, and Wellington Jimenez. It's basically 50% of TSC says... let's keep our eyes on this then.
Here, 3.9 for the last lap.
Well, here comes Phipps.
Langley 6.3 for the last lap.
Oh, Langley's absolutely fine. Phipps then, pole position, fastest lap, through Sunset, in what is about to be the race win. He's going to put a lap on Schaefer's, is he, at the very end? He might not, you know, he might make Schaefer's do the extra lap here. And I believe he is. But Andrew Phipps wins once again in the LMP2 category to carry on this momentum at SimPlay Motorsport. Here comes then that of James Wright under pressure from O'Reilly, but it's not going to matter. Kieran O'Reilly set at 3rd place. James Wright will take a great 2nd place there. Cambrai will be disappointed that he's only going to come across the line for P4. But we've seen the podium there. Where is Matt Townsend? There he is. Gray Langley, 3 seconds off the back of Vorher as they come towards Tower Turn.
Vorher still heavily fuel saving.
Yeah.
But I don't think Langley done enough, which is just if he was more, which is going to sound terrible. He did a 1.9 last lap. He is absolutely flying, but it's just his second stint, that middle stint he had, was just too inconsistent. He wasn't fat. Literally, he wasn't fast enough in that middle stint to be able to capitalize on the pace and the tire difference he had. He's 11 seconds. He's caught 3 seconds to Townsend in this short little split as Townsend's coming around Sunset Corner right now.
Indeed he is. Matt Townsend then comes in towards Sunset. Hasn't won a race this season, surprisingly, but he's about to take his first race win here at Sebring. Matt Townsend comes towards the line and he's going to win here at Sebring. The Corvette on top in America. Matt Townsend, first time race winner. John Ford, what a strategy. Has enough fuel to the end. He's going to hang on for that of P number 2. Vorher has done enough to finish on the podium, and Gray Langley just misses out in 4th. Wainwright is going to come across for that P number 5 in this one.
Just barely goes over the line. Fine margins for these drivers to the ones that Ben Rook, P6. Schaefer's going to finish P7. Wolf, Love, and Vieira is going to round out the top 10.
Indeed he is. Langley, though, will take that fastest lap of the race. I'm going to try and as quick as I can, get these race results in, because I have got to wait for a little later on for when I get sent over the results file due to the fact we're not in our normal server. Wellington Jimenez was down in 12th in category. Schaefer's P7, better showing from Schaefer today. Paulo Vieira was P10. That of Gareth Anderson lost out to Jimenez for 13th. Ossian was down in P18. Love was up in 9th place for Peter Love. Matt McMillan was P11. John Ford was P2. Great result for him. Stapley down in 17th place. No, he wasn't. He was 16. He got ahead of Plovins at the end. Zlatnik came across for P14. Good result for him. Tristan Herbst wasn't here. Hornsby came across for P15. Ben Rook was P6 in the end. Nauris Plavins came across for P17. No Benny Archer. Bergsmet did not finish. Erky Coglowino was 19th. Wolfgang Schrodel. Oh no, I've just lost it. Where was Wolfgang Schrodel out there on the...
I got you. I got the screenshot.
He's got the screenshot. Just Wolfgang Schrodel we missed out on at the very end. And then we can jump in to a few interviews then while we wait for Tanner to just tell us that one. Just catch up with a few of the comments. Ford, the strategy king. Indeed he is. Good, John. Could somebody pick up my tyre on the cool-down lap, says Ryan Fox there. Anderson, GG's lads. Got locked in neutral, the whole back straight into Sunrise and enough momentum to get over the line. Callum Clark, GG final corner is so bad. Honestly, I have no luck, says Phil Hornsby. Great race, though, and a good effort from Flimp. So we're just waiting to find out that final result in this race. What a day it has been. Yeah, interesting one. We are joined.
Are my screenshots?
We are joined. I'm looking in the wrong voice chat. We are joined by that of John Ford. We'll start with the second place man in LMGT3. Well, first of all, massive congratulations. You didn't quite get the strategy to power at Monza, but it worked an absolute treat tonight.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that one. I got to be honest. It's I was a bit close to the wire last time I took part, but yeah, I'm surprised how well I did myself, if I'm quite honest with you.
Yeah, it was a real interesting race to see. You was in a bit of a fight at the end with Vorher. Did you think at the end you had enough? Because it was a little touch and go with Andrew starting just that one extra lap.
I think so. I think I kind of sort of saw myself holding pace with Vorher sort of on the end of the second stint. I knew if I could just hold the pace, I still had like an extra lap of fuel in the tank spare. And then sort of with the last 20 minutes to go, I started spending that fuel, so which is just allowed me to keep the gap, I guess. But yeah, it was it worked out quite well this time.
It did indeed. And obviously Monza was a little bit of a disappointment because you ran out just at the very end, which put you on the back foot there. But tonight, an absolutely mega job. Fuji next week. What's your thoughts for Fuji?
I don't know yet. I'd rather not do another fuel saver, but we'll see how it goes, I guess. But to be fair, I didn't plan on doing a fuel saver tonight. I mean, going into the run-up to this race, I was going to do the flat out. And then I got into the race, and I just thought, I'm going to go off strategy. Just want to see what everyone else was doing. Mostly everyone was flat out, and I thought I'll go off strategy and try the fuel saver again. And this time it worked out.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose the interesting question I would have as well to the other drivers around is, did they change tyres? Because I didn't.
I believe
Townsend
Gray Langley
did.
but I didn't see Townsend or Ben Rooks change tyres. No. So yeah, you wasn't the only one to not take tyres there.
Yeah, because I was surprised at how many people I jumped. To be fair, on that pit stop, but yeah, I can't complain.
Can't complain at all. Well, congratulations, buddy, on that one. Great result for you, and we'll hopefully see you out there next week.
Cheers.
We'll move over to Kieran O'Reilly, P2 in the LMP2 category. Kieran, P3 in the LMP2 category. Just not the pace tonight, was it, really? You were stuck in a fight with Dan and Cambrai and Wright for most of the evening, but just couldn't get closer to Phipps at all.
No. First things first. Well done to Phipps. You know, he's flying in these. So, you know, hats off to him. He's up there every week. But for my race, that was tough. That was real tough. Not driven the track before. I've not driven the track in years, since Forza days, and jumped into it. No practice. I thought, what's the worst that can happen? And it was tough. But started to find a pace, especially sort of towards the end of the first stint. Started to feel the car a bit more, and then I just thought, I'm not stopping again. So it was fuel save, and just got back onto him at the end, and I was sort of flying that last lap, but yeah, just not quite enough tonight.
Still on the podium, still keeps you second place in the championship at the moment. So you're still there or thereabouts for now, but it's just looking more and more likely like Phipps is just going to start to take this one as we come towards them closing stages.
Yeah, and like I say, hats off to him. You know, these cars aren't easy to navigate, especially on the cold tyres. And you know, he's doing it right every week. So you know, you can only congratulate that. I'm obviously a bit gutted in myself from a few of the performances, but you know, life is life. I haven't really got the time to sort of, you know, sweat the game out as much at the minute. So I'm doing what I can do, and definitely the positives are I'm starting to feel the car more. Definitely starting to get the hang of the high downforce compared to sort of the GT racing. So, you know, come next season or any future races, we'll definitely give it a good go.
Well, Kieran, Fuji next week. What can you do around Fuji? Should be an interesting one for the LMP2s.
Yeah, might not be here next week, so it's a bit of a shame. But again, I've not driven Fuji. Don't think I've ever driven a lap around there, so it's just a new challenge again, new track. Good reviews, bad reviews, so I'll have to find out for myself. But if I am here next week, I'm gonna try and give it my all and try and give Phipps a good fight till the end. Even though he's got the championship, it would be nice to have a good battle. So looking forward to it.
Indeed. Well, congratulations tonight, Kieran, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Andrew, once again, race winner. Yeah, pretty good race that for you there at Sebring.
Yeah, it was really enjoyable. I wasn't sure which way to go. A bit like John, I wasn't sure whether it was a full push or a fuel saving race. But I just thought I'll just if when in doubt, flat out, you know. So
exactly.
I thought I'd just go with the full push strategy, which worked out okay. So I changed my left side tyres at the pits because I thought sunset will eventually kill me at some point if I don't change. But then unfortunately, because of I didn't realise, because there wasn't a limited tyre allocation, with 10 minutes to go, it changed my left tyres again. So I came out with 20-degree tyres with 10 minutes to go, which probably cost me about 10 seconds in the race. But But yeah, no, it was really fun. I enjoyed it. Sebring is a really tricky track, isn't it? If, especially like Kieran, if you're not familiar with it, I've raced it a few times now in LMU, and it's so tricky. And Sunset is always trying to kill you every lap.
Yeah. It is indeed, and it's one of them that's always going to try and just catch you out here and there, isn't it? Where, especially through the likes of Sunset, you've got that little bit of a bump that will just always try and catch you out a little bit. You seem to deal with it well, obviously, and apologies to all the drivers listening out there for the 100 tyre limit. That's obviously due to the fact we was rushing to try and get a second server open for tonight's event, due to the fact the main one didn't actually get going in the end. But yeah, like you say, very tricky circuit, especially these LMP2s, bumpy everywhere you go. But Sunset's got that little bump just as you turn in towards the sort of the apex of the corner. It has that little bit of a bump. So I assume that you found that a challenge that you've obviously had to deal with throughout this night.
I still don't know where the bumps are. Every lap that I go in there, I sort of hold on tight to the wheel and hope for the best. So it's what I decided to do tonight. Obviously in quali it was on the limit through Sunset, but in the race I thought I'll just dial it back and just go at 90% through that. I'd rather survive the race than save a couple of tenths.
Yeah.
And get through there quickly. It was a shame that Jamal was Clouden was very close. I think he was a second and a half behind me when he went off. So I think that was squaring up to be a really good race between me and Jamal. Kieran's obviously got serious pace. It's I know in the next championship he's going to be absolutely flying. I think there was a race that when neither of us were that familiar with the track, which was which one was it? Bahrain, wasn't it? And and there was absolutely nothing between. In fact, I actually think Kieran was quicker than me at Bahrain. So I think when he knows the tracks, I think we are going to be within a tenth, of each other every lap, every race. So that should be good fun.
Well, look forward to that one. Fuji next week. Again, another difficult circuit, I suppose. Last sector, especially for you LMP2 drivers out there. But what's your thoughts?
Not a favourite track of mine, Fuji. There's a lot of off-camber corners, and it's so easy for the back to go round at Fuji and the LMP2s because they're so stiff, the cars. It's once the back starts sliding, it's very difficult to save it. And again, I don't know if it's going to be a flat-out race or a fuel saver. So
we'll find out
I'll
next
have a
week.
think.
Yeah, I suppose we'll find out next week. And but congratulations tonight, another race win, and a big congrats to yourself.
Cheers, thank you.
Tanner, drivers of the day and final thoughts.
I have to give driver of the day to probably John Ford.
Yep.
Either John Ford or Vorhier. Those two took the strategy to perfection today. They literally right down to the last percent that they could use in that car. They got out of it, and both got a podium as a reward.
Indeed.
Oh yeah. Wait. We might get Vorhier in here.
Oh. Did we get him in?
He just messaged, should I join this one? I'm like, yes.
And he has
there
joined.
He is.
Ah, here he goes. Well, welcome to the commentary box. We can speak with our P3 man in LMGT3. Sebastian, welcome in to the commentary box. Talk us through your race tonight, because you managed to make the one-stop, a bit like John Ford. You managed to make the one-stop work and got to the end of the race.
Yeah, it was quite tricky. First stint, I had 0.8 laps left, but I wanted to try to get that 25th lap. But yeah, I pitted one lap earlier, and till the race end, I had to save way more than expected, and yeah.
Now you was putting some pressure on John Ford at the end. Was you hoping to try and get that position off him at the very end, or what was the plan there?
Yeah, I tried to hook with him, but in the last 10 laps, I have seen that I had too less energy, so I had to save way more, and yeah, couldn't quite get with him.
Fuji next week. What's your thoughts on Fuji?
I have to say, Sebring was my track to learn for this week. I had the first laps since Thursday, and I'll try to get that in Fuji too. I literally have no experience there, such as Sebring this week. So hope this goes as well.
Well, congratulations tonight. We'll let you get back to it. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
So we head to Fuji for the rest of the week. We head to Fuji for the penultimate round of the season next week here on LMU. Remember that the week isn't done though, because we turn our attention back to the console platform of Assetto Corsa Competizione, where our silver and bronze drivers in Pro-Am will battle it out tomorrow night at Monza, reverse grid, and then the 60-minute feature race. So a 50-minute reverse grid sprint, and then the 60-minute feature race will be that one. And then Thursday night for our platinum and gold drivers in Pro will be taken to the track, and our finale, I believe, is being brought to you by Alexa Marshall on Saturday in the finale of the Endurance Championship, again on ACC console platform only. The finale there, 6 hours of Donington Park. So make sure you tune in and check out that one. Remember as well to check out the description below and look at Design Manchester and Big Apple Logistics. As I've just realised, I've still got the wrong background on the commentary box green screen. That's because of the rushing around we had to do. But yeah, check out Design Manchester and Big Apple Logistics in the description below, as well as please hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and we'll catch you all next time on LMU for Fuji in a week's time. Good night.